Chronicles of the Stellar Mecha War. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 251 Shopping Plan. Can't we live here? Lin Fan felt that this place was already very good. The high-end hotels that we stayed in during the Chinese New Year last year were not much better than this place. It's not that we can't live here, but this place was originally for you to rest temporarily. The living facilities are not that complete. Wu Yusen explained. This is an office after all. Don't think that the light outside is just right. It's actually simulated light. It's not even as good as the living area below. At least there are clouds and wind there, and the space is closer to the real environment. Here, it's all simulated electronic screens. Although the scenery and light can be adjusted by yourself, it will definitely not be comfortable to live in for a long time. Although we occasionally rest in the office, we also have other places to live. Wu Yusen pointed at Jin Sichin and said, he lives in the villa below, and I live in the elevator apartment outside. If you also want to live in the special office, you can choose a villa near Jin Sichin. I checked and there are still vacancies. Your position level is also enough, so you don't have to spend extra money, but the housing allowance is gone. Because Jin Sichin was too special, it was inconvenient to live outside, and he was also afraid of trouble, so he lived in the living area of the special office. Wu Yusen often has to run around, so it's more convenient to live outside. I suggest that Lin Fan live outside. Jin Sichin saw that several people have been standing and talking, and hurriedly led them to sit on the sofa. Why? Wu Yusen asked. She needs to interact with more people. Jin Sichin explained. I mean a normal living environment, not a simulated environment like ours. There are many weirdos in the institute, and everyone is used to being reckless. It's still different from the life above. The people in the Special Affairs Institute are really knowledgeable. Although the living area looks not much different from the outside, from time to time you see a birdman, or a person with scales on his face going to the park for a walk, going to the supermarket to buy things. For Lin Fan, the psychological impact is still relatively large. Although she can get used to it after a long time, living underground for a long time will definitely have a profound impact on her worldview. On the contrary, it will affect the real perception of the normal world on the ground. Most people who can walk and live on the ground will not choose to live underground for a long time. And Jin Sichin knows that Lin Fan is delicate, and her current psychology has just returned to normal, and it is not suitable to accept too much similar influence. Wu Yusen thought it made sense, and looked at Lin Fan again. What do you think? I have no objection. Lin Fan shrugged. Since you all think it's better to live outside, then live outside. Are there any staff dormitories outside? No. Wu Yusen shook his head. If you live outside, you can either rent or buy. Even if I bought a house, it's not cost effective to rent. The house pricing AO. Wu Yusen didn't finish. Lin Fan understood. She rented a house when she was working. In order to save money for marriage, she rented a small one-room apartment with a small bathroom and kitchen. Although the area is small, it has everything it should have. So the rent is inevitably not cheap. Not cheap is fine, but it keeps rising. As for the increase, if only the salary increased in the same way. It increased by 200 a year, 400 a year, and Lin Fan still remembers that in the last year, the landlord raised it by 800 a month in one go. After a year, Lin Fan almost had a heart attack from the rent. Fortunately, she broke up and returned the house directly, without giving the landlord a chance to raise the rent. But the money she paid to the landlord over the years could buy another small unit in her hometown. So if she has enough money, it is definitely more cost effective to buy a house. At least after spending the money, the property is still hers. Lin Fan thought about it. She is not short of money now, so let's buy it. After all, it is a fixed asset. If something happens in the future, it can be left as an inheritance to her parents. According to her current salary level, how big a house can she buy? Lin Fan doesn't need to spend 800, so she has never paid attention to the bank balance. At this time, she took out her mobile phone and looked at it, and her brows frowned. Tens, hundreds, and millions. Is it a mistake? Lin Fan stared at the phone with a confused face. How can there be so much money? Last year during the Chinese New Year, Lin Fan deliberately spent a lot of money and gave Lin's father a card. She remembered that when she attended GU's classmate reunion, she checked the balance and it was more than 18 million. Later, she played in Gao and went to Harbin to play. When she returned to 800, there should be more than 17 million. Adding this year's salary of 15 million, it should be more than 30 million. How come there are more than 50 million on the card now? As Lin Fan's mental state recovered, her feeling about money also recovered a little. She was no longer indifferent as before, but cared a little more. Where is it? Jin Sichin leaned over to look and casually clicked on her bill details. Oh, your salary increased. I forgot to tell you. When did it happen? Lin Fan asked in surprise. Why don't you need to notify the person for a salary increase now? It was after you got into trouble. Because you saved the big leader, solved the invaders, saved your colleagues and the base. There are contribution awards, medical subsidies and nutritional subsidies for the injured. A lot of things. Then this is also considered your performance. The credit is quite big, so the treatment in all aspects has also been improved. Jin Sichin explained. You were injured at the time, and you don't care about this aspect at ordinary times, so I forgot to tell you. Later, Xingchen upgraded, and the new form helped 800 develop a new Mecha, which is also counted in your performance. Wu Yusen carried a kettle to pour water for several people. Anyway, that's how it is in the institute. If you have achievements, we will give you a raise. Just get used to it. Lin Fan suddenly remembered Zhu Kunjin's words, we are not short of money. He is indeed a real rich man. Well, more money is better than no money. Lin Fan asked them again, what kind of house can be bought with 50 million? 50 million? You can choose any house in Gao. Jin Sichin took a glass of water and thanked Wu Yusen. That's not entirely true. There are also sky-high priced houses. Wu Yusen handed the water glass to Lin Fan and sat down and said, but what he said is not wrong. You can choose most of the houses on the market. At this price, it's enough to buy a villa, right? Jin Sichin offered another suggestion, but do you want to spend all the money on the house? Don't you want to save some for a car? Lin Fan thought about it, and it was right. If you have a house, you also need a car. Although Gao is congested, it is sometimes more convenient to have a car. Several people discussed it and decided to go to North Bund to take a look. The house doesn't need to be too big. A flat of about 100 square meters is fine. One room for Lin Fan. One room also needs to be left for Lin's parents. Although I don't plan to tell them about the house purchase for the time being, but considering the future, if they find out and come over occasionally, they won't let them stay in a hotel, right? A guest room and an activity room. A large living room, 2 or 3 bathrooms, a large kitchen, and a large balcony, and a good property management. With this calculation, about 40 million will be enough. The remaining money can be used to buy a good car, and then brought back, to have the equipment department modify it. Several people were discussing enthusiastically when Lin Fan's cell phone rang. Dingling, dingling, dingling. Guess whose phone it was? I wish you all a happy new year, good health, all your wishes come true, and you all get rich. Like Lin Fan, buy a house, a car, and whatever you want without blinking an eye. Haha, I want tickets and interaction. Come on, be more aggressive. Chapter 252, Change of Attitude Towards Lin Ma. This ringtone, it was near the Chinese New Year. A person suddenly appeared in Jin Sichin's mind. Not many people would call Lin Fan. Those who are a little familiar, such as young people like him and John Woo, would choose to contact through communication software. Sending a voice, a picture, or directly making a video call is extremely convenient. In this way, the people who choose to call are not only the elderly who are not familiar with the use of software, but also relatively unfamiliar people, such as business partners, couriers, salesmen. Think about it, it's only a few days away from the Chinese New Year, it's really time. He glanced at Lin Fan, his expression didn't change much, he calmly answered the phone, and habitually turned on the hands-free. Hello, Xiadophan, when are you going to have a holiday? Lin's mother's voice came out, and Jin Sichin secretly said, as expected. Holiday. It will take a few more days. Lin Fan did not show any rejection of going home this time. On the one hand, her mental state has been adjusted almost. Living like a normal person has always been what Jin Sichin encouraged her to do. And going home for the Chinese New Year is one of the most normal behaviors. You can't hide in your own home. How can you hide for a lifetime? On the other hand, she felt that she could face Lin's mother more calmly. The story began when she was lying on the hospital bed shortly after waking up from the accident last time. That day, the sun was shining brightly. Lin Fan received a call from Lin's mother. Lin's mother's calls were not very frequent. Generally speaking, she would only call when there was something, and rarely would she call just to greet Lin Fan. She complained to Lin Fan on the phone that Lin's father fell asleep while smoking, and the cigarette was not put out, resulting in a big hole burned in the bed. Lin Fan lay on the hospital bed, watching the sunlight coming in from the window, leaving spots of light on the blinds. Lin's mother's sharp voice from time to time penetrated her periosteum and went straight to her heart, leaving a little stinging feeling on it. Lin Fan smiled helplessly. She was indeed a mean person. After waking up this time, even though the 800 people were so good to her, she always felt it was unreal. It was not until she heard Lin's mother's bad voice that she felt that she was really still alive. Lin Fan's mind kept flashing back to her childhood. Laughter, anger and scolding. The happy times that the three of them had had. Because of her anger at Lin's mother, all these once beautiful memories were thrown into a corner. She resisted Lin's mother, thinking that Lin's mother did not understand her. It was because of Lin's mother's arrogance that she suffered a series of hardships later. But think about it, how could she understand Lin's mother? They just stood on different positions and accused each other. Lin's mother raised her up. Although she was less caring, she did not owe her anything in terms of material. Every time she went home, there were always dishes that Lin Fan liked on the table. No matter how unpleasant the words were, the chopsticks in her hand kept picking up dishes until Lin Fan's bowl, fearing that she would not be full. I still remember that one year, when I went home, Lin's mother shouted to Lin Fan, "You have lost weight," as soon as they met. Lin Fan looked at his big and thick body. His clothes were so tight that the zipper was almost broken, and reported his weight. Only then did Lin's mother change her words in a daze, saying that it was time to lose weight. Lin Fan had always known that Lin's mother actually loved her, but that love was always accompanied by hurt, and it was love that was not done properly. When she was briefly awake on the operating table, she looked at the bright light and felt cold all over, as if she was in an ice cave. There were big sounds in her ears, and it seemed that there were many people walking around. At that time, she only thought of Lin's mother. She especially wanted Lin's mother to hold her in her arms and warm her like when she was a child. It had been a long time since she called mom. Lin's mother seemed to have never noticed and never protested. But did Lin's mother really not notice? You said that if it was a dish he liked, he could drink for a while, and a plate of peanuts and wine could last until 10 o'clock, and I would have to wait for him to clear the table. On the other end of the phone, Lin's mother was still complaining. Lin Fan suddenly realized that she didn't know what Lin's mother liked to eat. She knew that Lin's mother liked playing mahjong, fancy clothes and golden jewelry, high heels, and vanity, but she had never noticed what Lin's mother liked to eat. Of course, she had never paid attention to Lin's father's preferences. Lin's mother might not be a good mother, and Lin's father might not be a competent father. But was she a good daughter? When she should study hard, she deliberately didn't study, and the scores of the test paper she brought home were terrible every time. In order to escape from her family and college, she chose a city far away from home to go to school, and went directly to Gao after graduation. Although the drive was only more than 3 hours, she only came back for a few days during the Chinese New Year. She only saw herself, her own efforts, her own losses, her own sadness, and her own pain. But she never focused on her parents. Knowing that they were getting older and gradually unable to keep up with the development of this society, it seemed that she was filial and bought the latest smartphones for them, but she still felt that they were too slow to respond and could not understand, no matter how she taught them. Lin Fan didn't know when Lin's mother hung up the phone. When Lee Chun-hua woke her up, she was already in tears. Lee Chun-hua was so scared that she wanted to call for help on the spot, but she stopped him. When Lee Chun-hua saw the call from Lin's mother on her phone, she mistakenly thought that she was being made difficult by Lin's mother and was crying because of anger and comforted her not to take it to heart. Since then, Lin Fan decided to let go of the past. She had died once. Oh, no, twice. What else can't be let go? Let Lin's mother go. Let yourself go too. After thinking about it, his mind suddenly became much broader. When he thought of Lin's mother again, he would no longer be bitter and resentful, and frowned reflexively. Sure enough, in the face of life and death, nothing can be considered a big deal. Besides, she is now in this state, destined to be unable to meet her parents' wish for her to get married and have children. Although there is no need to worry about money, the two old people will inevitably feel lonely when they see other people with children and grandchildren. Spending time with them during the new year is also a kind of spiritual comfort, right? No matter how much, I can only give money. So this time, Lin Fan was not opposed to going home for the new year, and her mentality was relatively stable. She even established a strategic policy of if Lin's mother makes excessive remarks, try to be tolerant. There are 365 days in a year, and the new year is only a few days for her to spend with her family. In the past, she could tolerate her boss, the client, and even some strangers who didn't know what they were. Why can't she tolerate it in front of her parents, who gave birth to her? It must be possible. Lin Fan clenched her fists in her heart. If it really doesn't work, just find Jin Sichin. Hey, Kit, why are you silent again? Is the signal bad? Lin's mother tapped the phone and asked again, how many days will it take? It's already this time, and there's still no definite answer. The papa tapping sound suddenly pulled Lin Fan out of her memories. When she raised her eyes, Wu Yusen's phone had been handed to her, and the words on it were vacation time. The 29th is a holiday. I should pack up. Lin Fan said to the phone, while looking at it. Let's go back on the morning of the 30th. Another 30th. Lin's mother was unhappy. No way. The official rule is that the 30th is a holiday, and our company has a day off earlier. Lin Fan raised his eyebrows proudly to the two people next to him, meaning that his nonsense was getting more and more fluent. That's true. Lin's mother immediately stopped and asked, what day will you have a holiday after the new year? You won't have to go back to work early, right? No, I will still go back to work on the 7th day after the new year. Lin Fan replied, 7 days off, not bad, right? Lin Fan hid one day before and after the holiday. On the one hand, there were many things to do before the new year, and there would definitely not be enough time to buy a house or a car. On the other hand, of course, he was still a little scared of Lin's mother. Although he wanted to spend more time with her, according to Lin's mother's personality. Well, let's start with 7 days. Well, it's not bad this year. Lin's mother expressed satisfaction. Then why are you coming back? Do you want your dad to pick you up? No, I'll take a car by myself. It's not like I can't find the place. Don't bother. Lin Fan refused. Okay, that's it. Lin's mother was very happy. I have to buy some more vegetables quickly. I won't tell you for now. Beep, beep. The phone was hung up mercilessly. Lin Fan looked up and saw Jin Sichin and Wu Yusen looking at her with a smile, so she shrugged with a smile on her face. Okay, Lin Fan, you're great. Jin Sichin gave her a thumbs up. He had been secretly on guard against the situation of last year, but he didn't expect that Lin Fan had grown to this point without him knowing. Drive Jin still taught well. Lin Fan bowed to Jin Sichin in a fake manner. Okay, I'm giving you special approval to become a master. Jin Sichin didn't ask what was going on with this change, and directly cut into the previous topic. Okay, where were we talking about just now? Oh, the chassis of the car. It's best not to buy a sports car. The chassis is too low, and it is easy to get stuck. My car has a high chassis. Do you want to see it? Wu Yusen opened his phone to find pictures. Come on, your car is too high. Jin Sichin complained without hesitation. Lin Fan looked at the two of them with a smile, and for some reason, he felt that this year might be a good year. The deeper the love, the deeper the resentment. Has anyone noticed that Lin Fan never calls mom? The only time he called her was when he was angry. I have been foreshadowing for so long. Didn't anyone notice? Haha, is it too obscure? As I was writing, I suddenly realized that we and our parents just look at things from different perspectives. Everyone sticks to their own position, and few people will consider the other person from their perspective. I hope all families are loving, and there are no misunderstandings or hurts. The new chapter on the morning of the first day of the new year. Do you feel a little bit of warmth? In addition, the comment last night said that I didn't want Lin's mother to live here. I changed that paragraph and wanted to come back to comment, but the comment was gone. I didn't delete it. Maybe it disappeared automatically when I changed the post. Chapter 253 John Woo's wife. The next day, Lin Fan finally saw Wu Yusen's car. Jin Sichin was right when she said the chassis was too high. She thought that a high chassis was just like an SUV, a little higher than an ordinary 3-box sedan, and a little bit water resistant. Knowing that Wu Yusen's car was an off-road vehicle, she thought it was even higher. Maybe it was like a Jeep, which was higher than an ordinary family car, but she didn't expect the scene in front of her. The matte black steel car body was no longer comparable to an ordinary off-road vehicle. If you have to say, it was closer to an armored vehicle. The huge tires were big and wide, lifting the car body high. The treads on the tires were more convex than those on ordinary cars. There were running boards at the door, but the height was already at Lin Fan's knees. It was difficult to get up without lifting her legs and pulling with her hands. You have to know that Lin Fan is 1.7 meters tall, but when he looked straight ahead, he could only see the shoulder position of the seat. You can imagine how high this car is. How is it? Wu Yusen showed off his beloved car with a proud look on his face. Lin Fan looked at John Woo, who was about 1.8 meters tall, dressed to look thin, and looked harmless when he smiled. Then he looked at this giant car, which seemed to be able to ride on other cars at any time, and flatten the road in minutes once it started. I didn't realize that John Woo liked such a wild type. I said his car was too high. He even wanted you to buy this one. Jin Sichin complained coldly. Jin Sichin was dressed like a trendy man today. He wore a dark green loose sweater and red crotch pants, and there were 2 long and short metal chains hanging around his waist. The ginger wool hat covered his white hair tightly, and with the sunglasses, it looked like his skin was just abnormally white. Lin Fan frowned slightly and breathed a sigh of relief. It didn't look that big on the phone yesterday. Looking at Wu Yusen's expectant expression, he licked his lips and said, "That's good. At least you don't have to worry about being scammed when driving on the road." Are you kidding? Who wouldn't stay away from a car that looks like a tank on the road? With its chassis height, as long as it doesn't hit head on, the tires are crushed, and the person is lying on the ground and the car passes over it, it won't hit the exhaust pipe. Besides, scammers usually want money, so they don't dare to risk their lives to crash into such a car. Look, I told you, Lin Fan will definitely not like this one. Jin Sichin actually thinks this car is good, but it only stays at the level of appreciation. The appearance of this car is too different from his temperament and will ruin his overall image. Wu Yusen's disappointment is on his face. Okay, I still hope to be a car buddy with Lin Fan. He opened the car door, stepped easily, and sat in the driver's seat. Hurry up and get in the car. The road is not congested now. They made an appointment today to accompany Lin Fan to the mall to buy soft furnishings and daily necessities that the office lacks. Jin Sichin insisted on going along, saying that she didn't trust Wu Yusen's straight male vision, and Lin Fan needed someone who could give aesthetic advice. Lin Fan had no objection, so Wu Yusen naturally didn't care either. By the way, is it really okay for you to go out shopping during working hours? Lin Fan jumped into the passenger seat and buckled his seatbelt in confusion. Our working hours are very flexible. Jin Sichin also got into the back seat and slammed the car door shut. As long as you are not on a mission, there is actually no difference between sitting in the office playing with your phone and going out shopping. As long as it doesn't delay your work, it's fine. So cool. Lin Fan was surprised. It's so cool. Wu Yusen turned the steering wheel and drove the car out of the parking space. But it's also hard when you are on a mission. Don't just look at it now. The better the benefits, the harder the mission. After all, some people may not be able to come back intact after a mission. Lin Fan instantly understood the truth and nodded silently. Wu Yusen's car looks cold and hard on the outside, but the interior decoration makes people feel very comfortable. Just like the feeling that Wu Yusen gives people. Lin Fan looked around and stopped paying attention after seeing what was there. She was not very interested in cars. She just wanted it to be drivable, easy to drive and convenient. Although the car was huge, it surprisingly made little noise. That's for sure. This car belongs to John Woo's wife. Almost all of his salary goes into the car. Jin Sichin poked her head out from the back seat and stretched her neck to talk to Lin Fan. Guess how much his car cost? Lin Fan thought about it. She didn't know much about cars, so what was there to guess? In her concept, cars over 100,000 were considered good cars. This car was obviously worth more than 100,000, and from what Jin Sichin said, it was probably worth a lot of money. Seeing that Lin Fan refused to answer, Jin Sichin simply revealed the answer herself. Do you know that he has a suite? The total price of this car is equivalent to that of the house. That must be 18 million. Lin Fan had never seen such an expensive car before, so she touched the center console curiously. The feel is no different from Santana. Touching the seat again. Well, it's really expensive for a reason. It's not that exaggerated. Wu Yusen smiled. Men always find it hard to resist cars. He is not just hard to resist in general. He specially found a top manufacturer to customize this car. Jin Sichin exposed his old secrets again. But this car is really good. The climbing performance is just right. The shock absorption is also great. No matter where you go, it's as if you are walking on flat ground. No wonder I have never seen it on the road. It turns out to be a limited edition. Lin Fan glanced at Wu Yusen. He smiled so charmingly, it really seemed like he was listening to someone praising his wife. Okay, men's feelings for cars are probably similar to women's pursuit of shoes, clothes, bags, and accessories. Forgive her for not being able to empathize. Although Gayo he often flashes various famous cars and luxury cars, Badeo still attracts a lot of curious eyes. Oh, Badeo is the name of Wu Yusen's favorite car. He named it himself. After being stunned for a few seconds at first, Lin Fan accepted it calmly. Dolls and figurines can have names. Why can't cars have names? Because the chassis is high, the driver's field of vision is also high. Lin Fan was looking at the roof of the car in front of him all the way, studying the sunroofs of various models. Looking at the densely packed cars in front, it was so overwhelming that it was better to be lower and only look at the rear of the car in front. Wu Yusen took Lin Fan to the commercial district in the city center. There are old department stores and new comprehensive shopping malls here. No matter what you want to buy, you can find it here. The mall that shares a parking lot with the special affairs office is positioned higher and sells some light luxury brands. Lin Fan is not without money, but from Wu Yusen's understanding of her, her life is basically based on comfort and casualness, and her demand for luxury goods is not high. So he took the lead and took people to this business district. As soon as he entered the mall, Jin Sichin was like a peacock with its screen spread and became energetic. He led Lin Fan from scented candles to lotus incense burners, picked and chose tablecloths, and recommended crystal vases to Lin Fan. Aren't you here to buy daily necessities? Wu Yusen was puzzled. What do these things have to do with life? But he didn't say anything and kept smiling honestly, being a qualified porter. This. Jin Sichin pointed at the furry pink bunny ears home clothes and said to Lin Fan, "This is so cute, it will look good on you." How many girls can resist the attack of furry dolls? At least Lin Fan can't. She saw the clothes that Jin Sichin pointed at and felt a little attracted to them, but the tender pink color made her hesitate. Is it a little too tender? She is 37 years old this year. Before she could make up her mind, Jin Sichin had already taken the clothes and put them on her. Lin Fan subconsciously cooperated and put them on her arms, and Jin Sichin put the bunny head hat on her head. The huge bunny head covered Lin Fan's head with fur, and two long plush ears hung on both sides of the hat. With Lin Fan's cold and cute face, it was so cute. Even the straight man John Woo felt that it was so cute and smiled more gently. Does it look good? Jin Sichin asked with his arms around his chest and raised his eyebrows. Seeing that both of them said so, Lin Fan found a mirror to look at it. I bought it. Remember this dress? It will be tested later. Do you still go to the mall to buy clothes? I haven't been there for a long time. I haven't been there for a long time before I wrote the novel. Chapter 254. Nonsense. That day, under the guidance of Jin Sichin, Lin Fan bought a lot of things that she had never paid much attention to before, but after she went back and put them up, they would indeed increase the beauty of the room. Life is not only about practical things, but also things that make people happy. At the same time, she also experienced the pleasure of buying whatever she wanted without having to consider the money. It's still good to have money. Lin Fan was glad for her original choice. In the next few days, Wu Yusen took her to North Bund to find a house. Jin Sichin had something to do and didn't accompany her. But a house is not an aromatherapy candle. If you want to find a suitable and satisfactory one, a few days are not enough. In a blink of an eye, it was New Year's Eve. Lin Fan had a reunion breakfast with Wu Yusen, Jin Sichin, and Wang Fengfeng, who came after hearing the news in the cafeteria of the Special Affairs Office. Wu Yusen sent her to the high-speed rail station. Last year, Jiangsu province vigorously developed railway projects. It happened that the high-speed rail from Gao to other places stopped at Gaocheng, which facilitated Lin Fan's travel. After getting off the high-speed rail, he took a taxi back directly. The driver wanted to take advantage of the newcomer and take a detour. After Lin Fan found out, she directly turned on the navigation on her mobile phone. Under the high-pitched manual voice, the driver quietly drove back to the shortest route. At the final checkout, he took the initiative to charge 20 less and asked Lin Fan not to report him. This is life. Lin Fan didn't want to worry about such trivial matters, so she went upstairs with her small bag. Because it was only a 7-day holiday and the weather was cold, she didn't bring any luggage back. In addition to the small bag on her body, she only carried a small luggage bag. It was the one she bought in Guang'an shopping mall last year. The bag contained 2 sets of underwear for replacement and the newly bought rabbit fur home clothes, which she planned to wear as pajamas. The clothes she wore were the short down jacket she bought in the mall that day. It was a flower bud version. The length was hip-hugging, and a pair of long legs wrapped in straight jeans were exposed. She was wearing a pair of white branded sneakers on her feet. With her young face, youthful vitality was overwhelming. She was dressed in new clothes from head to toe, which was also in line with the New Year's scene. If there is anything missing, just buy it now. Anyway, the mall is open all year round, which is convenient. Lin Fan stood in front of his house. After thinking for a while and getting mentally prepared, he knocked on the door. I'm coming. Lin's father's voice came from the door. As the vermilion door opened, the fragrance and heat hit his face. Dad. Lin Fan smiled and called out from outside the door, but Lin's father was stunned. This is his daughter, no doubt, but I always feel something is wrong. Lin's father held the doorknob in a daze. Lin's mother came out of the kitchen with dishes, and seeing that he was holding the door open, she rushed over and pushed it. Why did you keep the door open? You let the heating run away, and when Xianofan comes back. Lin's father's chubby figure moved away from the door, and Lin Fan's figure appeared outside the door. Lin Fan pursed his lips, put on a smile again, and called out, Mom. Hey, Xianofan. Lin's mother was a little excited, but suddenly she found something wrong, and she widened her eyes and shouted, You had plastic surgery? This scared Lin Fan so much that he couldn't keep the smile on his face. He quickly went into the house and quickly closed the door. What plastic surgery? I don't have the time. Lin Fan knew why Lin's mother would sigh like this, but she could only hide it. Lin's mother circled Lin Fan twice, and then leaned close to her face to take a closer look. This is not plastic surgery. How can you become younger and more beautiful? Maybe everything has been going well recently. I'm in a good mood, and I look young. Lin Fan even made up the advertising slogan. Really? Lin's mother touched her face in confusion. Is it because she has been in a bad mood that she looks old? Oh, what's burning in the pot in the kitchen? Lin's father suddenly shouted. Lin's mother was startled and rushed into the kitchen. Seeing her frantically trying to save the food in the pot, Lin Fan finally breathed a sigh of relief. It was too difficult to lie. Father Lin came closer carefully and asked in a low voice, Is it because of your latest new product? Lin Fan was stunned, and then he remembered the excuse he made with Father Lin last year, and nodded directly. It was not wrong to say that Xingqian was her latest new product. It was indeed because of Xingchen that she became younger. To a certain extent, she did not lie to Father Lin. Why didn't Xiao Song and the others protect you back this time? Father Lin looked in the direction of Mother Lin like an underground party member and leaned his head slightly closer to Lin Fan and said in a low voice, Lin Fan's mind was in a mess, and he continued to make up nonsense. The research and development has been completed in stages and handed over to others, and their mission objectives have also shifted. Father Lin gave Lin Fan an I understand look and suddenly returned to his normal voice and said naturally, Xiao Fan, are you tired on the road? Put down your luggage first and take a rest. Lin Fan looked at Father Lin's natural transition and suspected that he either had a talent for acting or did this kind of thing often. Seeing that Lin's mother was about to come out of the kitchen, he didn't have time to think about it and quickly went back to his room, hiding for as long as he could. Fortunately, the hustle and bustle gave Lin's mother an excuse. When she brought up the topic again during dinner, Lin Fan had already thought of an excuse, saying that it might be the effect of a high-end cosmetic she had used recently. Lin's mother often saw that brand on TV and knew it was very expensive. In addition, Lin's father was interrupting and brainwashing her. In the end, when Lin Fan promised to give her a set of skincare products that could rejuvenate her, he scolded her for being wasteful and smiled happily. In short, the matter of becoming younger was finally approved in front of her parents. Xiao Fan, why didn't Xiao Song come back with you this year? After dinner, Lin's mother brought a plate of fruit and placed it on the coffee table in front of Lin Fan. He shouldn't have a day off this year, Lin Fan said unceremoniously, poking a piece with a toothpick. Even if they have a holiday, they have to go home. How can they come back with me? Is that so? Lin's mother was a little disappointed. She looked at Lin Fan, who seemed to be in a good mood, and asked again, how is your relationship this year? Relationship? What kind of relationship? Colleague relationship? Very good. Lin Fan knew that Lin's mother's old habit had come back again, so he deliberately laughed with her. You kid. Lin's mother was very disappointed. Xiao Song is in good condition. If I were 40 years younger, what would you do? Lin Fan almost poked his nose with the fruit. You like Song Ren so much. Of your 4 colleagues, 1 is married and 2 are too young. Only Song Ren is suitable in all aspects. He is handsome and treats you well. What's there to pick on? Lin Fan was speechless. What Lin's mother said was actually not wrong. If she was still the ordinary Lin Fan, maybe she would be moved without hesitation, right? But if she was still the ordinary Lin Fan, she would not meet Song Ren. She knew very well that there were stars hidden in her body. A steel behemoth that current science could not explain. In the future, there is probably only one way to contribute to the country. Dating and getting married. Who will be delayed? But I can't say this to Lin's mother. Lin Fan's brain started to work, and he found a good excuse. I think his house is too cold. It's in Harbin, the ice city. Have you heard of it? The kind where you can freeze, even if you pee outside. You are talking nonsense. Lin's mother spat, and then thought seriously again, but Harbin is a bit far. If I get married in the future, it will be inconvenient to go back to my parents' home during the new year. Lin Fan took a look and quickly hid back in her room. At this time, the phone rang. It was Wu Yusen calling on video. He should be asking if she has arrived. Hello, Lin Fan, are you home? Wu Yusen actually judged from the situation on the camera that Lin Fan had already arrived home, but he still had to ask. I'm here. I've been there for a while. I forgot to tell you. Sorry. Lin Fan apologized. She didn't even have the consciousness to report safety to Wu Yusen. But thinking that Wu Yusen would take her with him in the future, she reminded herself to let him know if there was anything. Nothing. I just asked. I'll be glad when you get home, Wu Yusen said with a smile. Then you should have a good rest at home and have a happy new year. I won't disturb you for now. I'm hanging up. Lin Fan smiled, and before she could reply, Lin's mother's head appeared in the camera. Hey, who is this guy? I just realized that it was the new year. What a coincidence. I just happened to write about the new year. Wow, I'm such a genius. Lin's mother found Wu Yusen. Haha. Can you imagine Lin's mother's expression at that time? Chapter 255, Lin Ma's difficult choice. Hello, auntie. My name is Wu Yusen, and I'm Lin Fan's colleague. Wu Yusen knew Lin's mother, of course, and greeted her with a smile. Oh, Xianofan's colleague. Lin's mother also smiled, pushed Lin Fan aside, leaned over to the phone and asked, "How old are you? Where are you from? Are you married, Mom?" Lin Fan frowned and wanted to hang up the call, but the phone was snatched away by Lin's mother, who noticed it in advance. Lin Fan felt a sudden fire in his heart. Be calm, be calm. She kept saying it in her heart. I just came back. I can't let anything go wrong. Wu Yusen knew what kind of character Lin's mother was. She would not stop pestering until she achieved her goal, but as long as you obey her, even if it's just verbal obedience, she can easily appease her. So he answered without hesitation. I'm 1 year older than Lin Fan, from Ningcheng, and I'm not married yet. Oh. Lin's mother smiled even more. Then your girlfriend won't urge you? Auntie, I don't have a girlfriend. Wu Yusen answered without hesitation. Lin's mother, whether as Lin Fan's elder or Lin Fan's trouble, Wu Yusen has to deal with it properly. Why are you telling her this? Lin Fan was anxious and wanted to grab the phone. Wu Yusen knew that he was talking to her and smiled and told her to relax. It's okay, I'll just chat with auntie. Lin's mother also thought that he was talking to her and muttered dissatisfiedly, that's right, what's the big deal about chatting? Lin Fan lost his temper. Why are these two people singing the same tune? Wu Yusen isn't she annoying enough? He snatched the phone and said to Wu Yusen viciously, don't make trouble for me. Okay, I'll listen to you. Wu Yusen nodded in obedience and smiled and greeted Lin's mother, who was leaning behind Lin Fan. Auntie, then I'll hang up first. Wish you a happy new year and chat later. Hey, chat later. Lin's mother looked at the screen of the call being hung up, and her eyes narrowed with laughter. I wanted to ask Lin Fan a few more questions, but her face was already dark. After thinking about it, she decided to give up. Anyway, there are still several days left, and there are plenty of opportunities to ask. Mother Lin happily went out to share information with Father Lin. Lin Fan threw her phone on the bed and fell on it. What the hell is going on? She turned over and listened to Mother Lin's vivid description to Father Lin outside. I always feel that this year will not be a good year again. Mother Lin's happiness lasted for a long time, until she was eating the New Year's Eve dinner. She was still filled with an unignorable joy. Maybe it was this good mood that prevented Mother Lin from finding faults too much at the dinner table. The family of 3 turned on the TV and ate. It was lively and harmonious. When they were almost done, a skit played on TV suddenly made Mother Lin mention Song Ren again. It's still more lively than last year. There are so many people at home. Mother Lin looked at the skit. A group of people eating around the table. The atmosphere was warm, and suddenly sighed. Lin Fan was a little uncomfortable with her sudden sadness, and didn't know what to say for a while. At this time, the phone in the room rang again. It was Song Ren's video call. As soon as the call was connected, several people's heads crowded into the screen. The first one to be affected was Li Chunhua. Jiyu and Gao Fei were on both sides, and Song Ren was at the back, occupying the position above Li Chunhua's head. Lin Fan. Sister Lin. Several people greeted in unison, and Lin Fan instantly returned to the time when he was with them. Hey, how are you guys doing recently? Lin Fan had been away for nearly 10 days. He didn't think about it when he didn't think about it, but he really missed them when he thought about it. It's pretty good, just like before. There's no difference. Li Chunhua answered on behalf of the group. We just finished the New Year's Eve dinner and thought you might be eating too, so I wanted to say hello to you. I haven't finished yet. My mother just mentioned you guys, saying that it's not lively without you this year. Lin Fan smiled and walked out. Ah. Lin Fan, you're home? Li Chunhua said in surprise. Nonsense, isn't it normal for him to go home during the new year? Song Ren suddenly spoke. He saw that Lin Fan was in good condition on the screen, and felt that there should be nothing wrong. Who's calling? Mother Lin asked, watching Lin Fan talking on the phone while walking. It's the person you just mentioned. Xiao Song. Mother Lin's face was full of smiles again. Come on, let me say a few words to him. Let me say a few words to auntie. Song Ren knew that Lin Fan would easily clash with Mother Lin, so he stood in front of the screen. Originally, they called to wish their elders a happy new year. Lin Fan had no choice but to hand the phone to Mother Lin. Mother Lin held the phone and called Xiao Song all the time, not caring about the New Year's Eve dinner. If Lin Fan hadn't reminded her that it would disturb others' rest if it took too long, Mother Lin might have wanted to chat all night. After Li Chunhua and others took the opportunity to wish Lin's parents a happy new year, Lin Fan successfully grabbed his phone. After a few routine greetings, he finally hung up the phone. Mother Lin was still muttering to Father Lin about Song Ren's goodness. Lin Fan quickly finished the dishes in his bowl in 3 bites, hurried back to his room, and didn't even watch the party. Lin's mother kept her spirits high and cleaned the table happily. After finishing the housework, Lin's mother lay down on the bed and suddenly thought of John Woo again. Xiao Wu seemed to have a good personality and always agreed with Xiao Fan. Moreover, his hometown was in Ningbo, which was relatively close to them. But Xiao Song was a pretty boy, steady and reliable. Hey, who do you think is better, Xiao Song or Xiao Wu? Lin's mother urged Lin's father. It doesn't matter who is better, your daughter doesn't like him. Lin's father was tired and didn't want to open his eyes. Yes, such a good guy, what doesn't Xiao Fan like? Lin's mother opened her eyes and looked at the dark ceiling and asked again. Seeing that Lin's father didn't answer, she asked again. Still no answer, turned around and saw that he had fallen asleep. What's the use of you? Lin's mother immediately spat in annoyance, turned over, closed her eyes, and went to sleep. On the first day of the new year, Lin Fan woke up very early, but stayed in the room until Lin's mother knocked on the door. After saying a few auspicious words sweetly, Lin's father and mother each gave him a red envelope. Although there was not much money in the red envelope, it made Lin Fan feel happy. Everything seemed to be back to his childhood. This new year, Lin's mother restrained herself, and Lin Fan also deliberately gave in, and finally they had a good time. The family seemed to be happy. The 3 of them felt that it was a long lost feeling, so they were extra careful to maintain it. One day, everything was peaceful, and in a blink of an eye, it was the second day of the new year. Lin's mother was tidying up the house again. Lin Fan saw this posture and thought that there seemed to be guests coming. It's your aunt who is coming to visit. Lin's mother said happily. Your cousin came back from Gao this year to celebrate the new year and brought her family to make trouble. Your aunt said that Gao and Dee had to come and let the children meet the second mother-in-law. Lin's mother has 3 sisters in total, 1 older sister and 1 younger sister. The Lin family and the aunt's family originally lived in Yangcheng. The younger aunt went to another city after taking the college entrance examination and worked and started a family there. After Lin's mother moved to Gaocheng to do business, the contact between the sisters was not so close. After my cousin got married in Gao, it was even more difficult to see her. Now that they came to visit with their children, Lin's mother was very happy. Cousin. It was the cousin that Lin's mother always talked about, the cousin who set an example for Lin Fan. Lin Fan's mind recalled the image of his cousin who was excellent in both character and study, and was the team leader when he was a child. Lin's mother was in a dilemma. Which one should she choose between Xiao Song and Xiao Wu? Did you visit relatives during the Chinese New Year? Chapter 256 Lin Ma's path of persuading people to study. Lin Fan's cousin is 3 years older than her. When Lin Fan was in the 1st grade of elementary school, her cousin was already in the 3rd grade in the same school. She was loved by the counselor and became the team leader. At that time, the population of Yangcheng was not as large as it is now. There are 5 grades in Huayuan primary school, with 2 classes for each age, and there are not many children. But in Lin Fan's eyes at that time, the 3-bar team leader cousin was like a fairy, an insurmountable mountain. In addition, the cousin had good grades and was gentle, so Lin Fan admired her cousin very much at the beginning. Unfortunately, Lin's mother always used her cousin to set an example for Lin Fan. After talking about it for a long time, Lin Fan gradually developed a strange feeling about his cousin. It seems that he doesn't like her so much, and he doesn't want her to appear in his life. After the cousin graduated and stepped down as the team leader, Lin's mother always thought that Lin Fan could work hard and take over as the team leader. It happened that the counselor teacher had just given birth to a child, so Lin's mother bought a large bag of dolls and asked Lin Fan to take them to school to give them to the teacher in her own name, saying that they were for children to play with. Little Lin Fan felt embarrassed, but she couldn't go against Lin's mother's will. Of course, the teacher refused, touched her head, smiled and thanked her, and let her take it back to play. But Lin Fan felt that her face was about to burn. She stuffed the things under the table silently and didn't dare to see if any classmates cast strange eyes on her. Later, in the second semester of the 5th grade, graduation was approaching. Your cousin was admitted to the best key middle school in Yangcheng. You must work harder and learn from your cousin. Lin's mother issued a new goal. At that time, schools suddenly began to be assigned by default according to the district of residence. But if you pass the special recruitment examination of the key middle school, you can ignore the area and go directly to the best middle school. In order for Lin Fan to follow her cousin's footsteps, Lin's mother also specially got the test papers of the key middle school in previous years, forcing Lin Fan to work hard. Lin Fan didn't know how to keep it to herself, so she brought the test papers to school and shared them with her classmates. As a result, several of her classmates passed the exam, and Lin Fan failed by only 2 points, which made Lin's mother complain a lot. Since he could not get into a key high school, he could only be assigned to the number 1 middle school according to his residential area. Although the name of the number 1 middle school has the word no one, the actual teaching quality can only be said to be very average. The ranking of schools in Yangcheng is like this. The first one is the Key Middle School, which has excellent teaching quality. I heard that all English classes there are taught in English, and there are even foreign teachers. At that time, it was very advanced. It was simply a temple in the hearts of parents in Yangcheng. The second one was the Experimental Middle School, which was a branch of the Key Middle School, but that school was in the western suburbs, almost on the edge of the city, and there was a river between them. For Lin Fan, who was only 11 years old, it was really far away. Lin's mother took a look and passed it. Going down, only the third middle school in the junior high school ranked ahead of the first middle school, and the teaching reputation was also good. But the third middle school was far away from the Lin family, and the admission quota would not be allocated to Lin Fan anyway. Lin's mother thought of a quick solution, and ran to the third middle school district to rent a house and apply for a degree. But things are not that easy. At that time, the policy of going to school nearby by district had just been implemented. To prevent parents from taking advantage of loopholes to choose schools, they would send someone to the family to verify the situation. In short, Lin Fan finally went to number 1 middle school. Number 1 middle school's reputation is not that good. It may be because it is the oldest middle school established and is relatively close to the street business district, so the learning atmosphere is not very strong. This leads to the fact that the overall performance of students is indeed not very high. To give a more intuitive analogy, if you want to get into the high school of a key middle school, based on your grades in the junior high school entrance examination, the experimental middle school has a rate of about 10%, the third middle school has about 3 to 4%, and the first middle school. In recent years, no one has been admitted. The bad learning atmosphere is not only reflected in grades. After some children do not study well, they simply give up and become school bullies. I heard that some of them are very close to the second-rate people in society. Of course, number 1 middle school is not the worst school. Below number 1 middle school, there is number 2 middle school at the bottom. If there are some school bullies in number 1 middle school, and the teaching quality is unsatisfactory, then the number 2 middle school is basically full of school idiots, and the quality cannot be said. It's good enough to teach. Thinking about it this way, Lin's mother felt that things had not reached the worst. Lin Fan's grades were actually pretty good when she graduated from elementary school. They were not top-notch, but she was easily in the first echelon. Under Lin's mother's close supervision, Lin Fan's grades had always remained at the top and had not declined. But she seemed to always lack luck. On the night of the high school entrance examination, she caught a cold. Lin's mother didn't think much about it and directly gave her a cold medicine. As a result, Lin Fan was sleepy during the exam. She became confused in the second half of the composition. Although she still gritted her teeth and finished writing, she had no memory of what she wrote. Later, she dozed off in the examination room and knocked on the table for the invigilator several times. In this way, even if she was more careful in the subsequent exams, she would naturally not be able to count on the key high school if her Chinese score dropped. The final score was only 1 point away from the scoreline of experimental middle school. It was much higher than the scoreline of number 1 middle school. But how could Lin's mother let Lin Fan continue to stay in number 1 middle school? She paid 20,000 yuan in sponsorship fees to send Lin Fan to the experimental middle school. On the day of paying the money, Lin's mother took Lin Fan with her. In front of Lin Fan, she handed 2 stacks of money to the school's finance department. Look, 1 cent equals 20,000 yuan. If you had worked harder, you wouldn't have to pay this money. Lin Fan still remembers what Lin's mother said. She watched the money swishing in the money counter for a long time, and for the first time she had an intuitive concept of money. At that time, Lin's father worked hard outside to make money all day and rarely came home. Although Lin's mother was ostentatious, buying golden minks, she always instilled in Lin Fan the idea that the family had no money. In addition, Lin Fan was young at the time and had no concept of the value of things, which led her to always think that the family really had no money. Seeing that Lin's mother spent so much money on her schooling, she felt that she had really emptied the family's assets. She felt deeply guilty in her heart and secretly determined to study hard and never waste the hard-earned money of the family. At first, it was fine, and Lin Fan's grades were always in the top 5 in the class. But a sudden illness in the second semester of high school sent Lin Fan to the hospital. She stayed there for half a month. High school study is naturally intense. In order to prevent her grades from declining, Lin's mother directly applied for a year of sick leave for her. It's said to be a year, but in fact it's just a few months. Lin Fan was unwilling to go to high school again with the next wave of high school students. She felt that she could keep up, and she couldn't bear to leave her classmates, but she couldn't disobey Lin's mother. She began to feel dissatisfied. Later, Lin's father's business failed, and everything began to change. Adolescent Lin Fan also began to lose herself in the chaos. Parents with children are really worried about their children's schooling, right? Poor parents. But now the children are also very hard. I hope parents can listen to their children's ideas. Come, vote, interact, and do more. It's almost the end of the month. Whether I can get a bonus this month depends on you, my dears. Fist. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 257 Cousin Visits. Oh, is this little Neo? Lin's mother said with a pinched throat. Happy New Year, second aunt. Neo, call grandma. The gentle voice of the cousin followed. You should call second grandma. The uncle corrected immediately. Quick, come in first. Lin's father greeted them repeatedly. Lin Fan quickly put the red envelope in his pocket and went out of the room. Seeing that everyone was still greeting at the door, he smiled and greeted them. Aunt, uncle, sister, brother-in-law, Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Oh, Xiao Fan is so beautiful this year. The aunt smiled and took Lin Fan's hand, looking at her carefully. At first glance, where did this 18-year-old girl come from? Yes, Xiao Fan is really young. Do you have any secret skills? The cousin smiled and came over with the child in her arms. Neo, call aunt. Aunt. Neo is only 2 years old, and it is the time for him to be cute and obedient. His voice is still a little unclear, but everyone can't help but smile when they hear it. Be good, auntie will give you a red envelope. Lin Fan took out the big red envelope that he had prepared long ago and stuffed it into Neo's arms. The red envelope was very thick, and you could tell there was a lot of money in it without opening it. The cousin's family was a little flattered. Hurry up and thank auntie. Thank you, auntie. Neo picked up the red envelope without knowing why and wanted to put it in her mouth, but her auntie snatched it away and handed it to her cousin's husband behind her. Neo, be good. This is not delicious. Let daddy put it away for you. The cousin's husband put down the gift box, put away the red envelope, and came up to take the child. Let me hold it. You take a rest. Oh my, look at how good your son-in-law is. When will my Xiaofan find such a good husband? I will wake up with a smile. Mother Lin pulled her auntie and laughed. What are you still worried about? Xiaofan is like this now, like an 18-year-old girl. What kind of husband can't she find? Auntie's words were not polite, and Mother Lin smiled so hard that her teeth were not visible. Huh? She's choosing. Come, sit down. Lin's mother glanced at Lin Fan and pulled the guest to sit on the sofa. Everyone sat down one after another. Lin's father served tea in due course. Lin Fan also handed the children hot milk and then was pulled by his cousin to sit next to her. Don't be busy. The cousin came closer and looked at Lin Fan's face carefully. Her skin was delicate and smooth, white, and rosy, not much different from the little Neo next to her. Then she held her hand and touched it carefully. It was soft and smooth, not like a 37-year-old woman, but like a young lady who had never touched women. After graduation, the cousin and his wife worked in Gao, and later they got married and settled down there. Lin Fan had been to her house several times during the years when she worked in Gao. She remembered that Lin Fan at that time was not like this. The cousin is already 40 years old. She has worked hard for work, got married and had children in these years. Life inevitably left many traces on her face. Seeing that the cousin who is 3 years younger than her has suddenly become so young, it is impossible not to be curious. Tell me, what did you do to stay so young? The cousin's husband, holding Neo, looked over here curiously. He had met Lin Fan several times, but in his memory, when they first met, at the age of 24 or 25, she didn't seem so young, not to mention that she had become more beautiful. Lin Fan's cousin is not bad looking, but because of acne during puberty, there are many acne pits on her face, and her skin looks not smooth. She is a gentle person and speaks softly. Maybe she has accumulated a lot of fatigue over the years, and her energy is not enough. She is no longer the fairy sister in her childhood impression. Yeah, how did Xiaofan suddenly become so young? Share it with us. The aunt also laughed beside her. I thought you had a second child. Oh, it's nothing. Lin's mother took over the topic. I just use that XX brand of skincare products, and I didn't expect the effect to be so good. Ah, so effective? Everyone was surprised. Although the uncle and cousin's husband were not interested in beauty products, they were surprised after witnessing the changes in Lin Fan with their own eyes. They knew about that brand, and it was indeed expensive. Most working class families would not buy it, but if the effect was really that good. My cousin's husband glanced at his wife beside him and secretly planned to give her a surprise. My cousin was very excited and wanted to buy herself a set. Which woman doesn't yearn for youth? According to their income, buying a set would be a bit painful, but it wouldn't break a bone. Xiaofan said she would buy me a set later. Lin's mother couldn't open her eyes with laughter. I said no, don't waste the money. But she refused to listen. When my cousin heard what my second aunt said, she subconsciously looked at her mother. There was a soft smile on her no longer young face, and envy could be seen in her eyes with crow's feet. My cousin decided to buy a set for her mother first. As for myself, I will work harder this year. If I can earn more, I will reward myself. So, Xiaofan's income is pretty good now. My eldest aunt was also happy for Lin Fan. Auntie is a gentle person. In Lin Fan's impression, she seems to have never spoken loudly. On the contrary, it is Lin's mother who is always noisy. The gentle temperament of cousin should also be influenced by her mother. When he was a child, Lin Fan was very envious and even thought about asking auntie to be her mother. In the end, of course, it was nothing. Lin's mother didn't think about it. She always liked to compare Lin Fan with cousin, saying that Lin Fan was not as good as cousin in everything. But she was not as good as auntie. Yes, it's almost 300,000 a year. Since being cheated, Lin's mother has not been arrogant in front of people for a long time. This time when she met her own sister, she didn't have so many scruples. Wow, cousin's family exclaimed. Xiaofan is amazing. Cousin's husband gave a thumbs up. Cousin was also happy for Lin Fan and patted her legs gently. Our daughter and son-in-law only make about 500,000 a year, and they have been working for so many years. Xiaofan is really good. Auntie also praised with a smile. She knew that Lin Fan was sick. Now seeing that Lin Fan is not only well, but also in better condition than before, with more income, she is really happy for her sister's family. What's good about that? She's still not married at this age. Lin's mother complained with a smile. Look at your Neo. She's already 3 years old, right? She doesn't even have a partner. Second aunt, Xianofan is young and can make money, so she won't have trouble finding a partner. The cousin gently excused Lin Fan. Yes, second aunt, don't worry, there are many people in big cities who marry late. It's very common. The cousin's husband also came out to support. She said she doesn't have to worry, but she's 37. If she gets married later, it will be difficult for her to have children. The man will dislike her later. Lin's mother expressed her concerns. Lin Fan frowned slightly. Although she knew that Lin's mother was concerned, she didn't feel comfortable listening to these words. Second aunt, don't worry. Xianofan's happiness is the most important thing, and her future partner will definitely not be like this. Seeing Lin Fan's expression change, the cousin hurriedly advised. Yes, as long as the couple has a good relationship, it doesn't matter whether they have children or not. The cousin's husband also came closer and said, why is it not important? Lin's mother was probably so happy to meet her family that she forgot everything else for a moment. What kind of woman are you if you don't have children? This is a social phenomenon. Many people associate having children with being a woman. Raising children, doing housework, and being filial to parents-in-law seem to be associated with women. If you don't do one of these things well, you're not a good woman. Women are really too busy. Chapter 258. Ri Hang is very famous. There was a silence. My cousin and her husband both felt that what she said was wrong. But it was the new year, and we couldn't come to pay New Year's greetings and end up arguing with the elders. The couple looked at each other, and then at Lin Fan, who seemed unaffected, and temporarily stopped thinking of refuting. Of course, Lin Fan was unhappy, but she had to stick to the battle plan she had set. Besides, could she reason with Lin's mother? It's better not to waste her breath. Home is not a place for reasoning. Lin Fan decided to avoid it. Aunt was a little sad to hear this. Although Lin's mother was concerned, everyone knew that this was directed at Lin Fan. How uncomfortable would the child be to hear this? Who wouldn't want to get married and have children and a happy family if they could have a good partner? But doesn't that mean there is no suitable opportunity? Look at the high divorce rate now. Those children who were forced to leave their parents are the result of hasty marriages. Aunt's family knew about Lin Fan's past and expressed understanding. You said too much. I have to criticize you. Aunt is the eldest sister, and sometimes Lin's mother still listens to her. You have such a bad temper. You have never changed it since you were a child. You say whatever you think. When we were young, we gave in to you. When you got married, your husband gave in to you. When you are old, you still want Xianofan to give in to you. The aunt tapped Lin's mother with her hand. Turning to Lin Fan, she continued, Xianofan, ignore your mother and talk to your aunt. Are you still in Gao now? What company do you work for? Lin Fan didn't want to pay attention to Lin's mother either. In a company called Ri Hang. Ri Hang? The cousin's husband interrupted in surprise. Why? Is there something wrong with this company? The uncle asked when he saw his son-in-law was so out of control. Lin's father and mother also pricked up their ears. Dad, there is nothing wrong with this company. It is a benchmark in the industry. Most people can't get orders, even if they want to. The cousin explained. She and her husband have the same major, both studied architecture. She has been working in a construction company. Of course, she has heard of Ri Hang. Is this company famous? Lin's mother asked, but I asked the girl from the neighbor Leo Wang's family before, and she said she had never heard of it. They said they are not in the same circle. Lin's father was speechless. Didn't he make this clear last year? Why did he bring it up again? Very famous. At least in our construction circle. The cousin's husband smiled and gave Lin's mother a thumbs up. Our company has always wanted to get in touch with Ri Hang, but unfortunately there has been no way. Is that so? Lin's mother slowly leaned back on the sofa, and the last bit of doubt in her heart was finally put down. Elderly people are like this. If they don't know or suspect something, if it is not said by someone they know or someone they think is reliable, no matter what, they will leave some room for doubt in their hearts. This is why scams among the elderly are common among acquaintances. As long as you are willing to take advantage of this, you can cheat them every time. Fan, what is your position in the company? The cousin's husband asked Lin Fan with a smile. If he can get in touch with Han through Lin Fan, then promotion and salary increase will be just around the corner. Lin Fan was stunned. What was her apparent position? Seeing Lin Fan blinking and not speaking, the cousin's husband was somewhat disappointed, but he still smiled and understood. It's okay if it's inconvenient to say. What's convenient or inconvenient for a family? Lin's mother interrupted. She is the director of the New Technology Research and Development Department there. Lin's mother's memory in these aspects is amazing, and it just happened to arouse Lin Fan's memories. It was this position for sure. She's actually the director? The cousin's husband looked at the cousin in surprise. Fan, you are too amazing. Yes, it's not easy to be a director in Hang. The cousin is also an insider, and is happy for Lin Fan. It's equivalent to the vice president of our company. The cousin's company is a large company with good benefits, good treatment, and most importantly, stability. The aunt has praised it to Lin's mother many times, and Lin's mother knows it. Is it that good? Lin's mother was surprised, and then muttered, no wonder they said they would hire her for 1 million. Really? The cousin was really happy for Lin Fan. That proves that they value Fan's ability. Hey, that's not right. Didn't they just say that Fan makes 300,000 yuan a year? The eldest uncle suddenly interrupted and was pulled by the eldest aunt. If he is a department director, the treatment should be more than that. The cousin's husband was also pulled by the cousin. Oh, it's like this. This is the probationary salary. After the probationary period, if the product meets expectations, my salary will increase. Lin Fan felt that after the Chinese New Year, her nose could be used as a clothes drying rod. That's not right. When others nodded, Lin's mother found something unusual again. Didn't they say that Hang is a house builder? How come my Fan is in the New Technology Development Department? Are you kidding me? Everyone was stunned by Lin's mother's words. Only Lin's father waved his hands and said it was impossible. He had seen Song and the others last year. They were indeed soldiers, not really engaged in high tech. How could they send 4 people to protect his Fan? Aunt, Hang's real estate is only the most profitable business. We did hear that they have developed new technology projects in the past 2 years, but we didn't expect Fan to be the director. The cousin explained softly. It's still not right. You said you are the director of Hang. Do you have any evidence? Lin's mother suddenly turned into Sherlock Holmes and began to interrogate. What evidence can Lin Fan have? She has a Hang work badge, but it is still in the drawer of her office. Who would have thought that she would have to prove her identity when she went home? She did bring her work permit from the special office with her, but she couldn't show it. When Lin's mother saw that Lin Fan didn't say anything, she felt that she had guessed right. She was about to explode. Aunt saw that something was wrong and hurried to stop her. Oh, why are you saying this? What proof do you want Fan to show? Yes, second aunt, even we can't show proof of working in the unit all of a sudden. Seeing that he had caused trouble, the cousin's husband hurried to persuade. Whether he can get in touch or not depends on fate. If he makes the mother and daughter quarrel because of him during the new year, it would be a shame. Why can't you produce proof? Lin's mother got angrier and angrier as she thought about it. Don't you have any colleagues? Ask your colleagues to prove it. Call in front of me and prove it to me. Are you lying to me? I don't believe it. I can't find any personal proof. Lin Fan had expected this scene when Lin's mother started. After all, they have been mother and daughter for more than 30 years, and she is still very clear about the direction of Lin's mother's personality. Because she was prepared in advance, coupled with self-hypnosis, she was not angry. In fact, she knew in her heart that she did lie to Lin's mother. Is this the fault? Lin Fan sighed secretly, took out his phone, and called Wu Yusen. Hello, Lin Fan, Happy New Year. After a while, Wu Yusen's smiling face appeared on the phone screen. Lin's mother stood up and stared at the phone. Lin Fan stretched out his hand, trying to let everyone see it. Happy New Year. Wow, there are so many people. Wu Yusen saw that something was wrong and narrowed his eyes. Happy New Year, everyone. People here responded one after another. By the way, what do you want to talk to me about? Wu Yusen knew that she wanted his help, so he asked seriously. My mom, I need someone to prove what position I'm in Riri-han. Lin Fan was not afraid that Wu Yusen didn't know. After all, her certificate was issued by Wu Yusen. You should still remember it, right? It happened more than a year ago. Oh, this. Wu Yusen understood as soon as he heard it. Auntie, Lin Fan is the director of the new technology research and development department in our company. Is what she told you right? There is a contract for this, but I may have to wait until I start working to show it to you. Oh, it's this position. Lin's mother was just having a good impression of Wu Yusen and smiled and came to the camera. Xiao Wu, what is your position? Aren't you colleagues with Xiao Fan? Yes, auntie, we are colleagues. I work in the general manager's office, and I'm the general manager's special assistant. Wu Yusen said with a smile. Do you want to see my work card? I just brought it back. Wait a minute. Lin's mother said no, but she didn't leave. Wu Yusen quickly put the work card in front of the camera. Lin's mother and the people around her saw it clearly. Riri-han Trading Co. Limited, General Manager's Special Assistant, Wu Yusen. Auntie, are you relieved now? Wu Yusen smiled and took back his work badge. Hey, I was relieved anyway, but it was Xiao who insisted on calling you. Lin's mother said embarrassedly. Xiao will come to our house to play, if there is a chance. Okay. Seeing that his goal was achieved, Lin Fan took back the phone. I have something else to ask you. The cousin's husband wanted to say something, but was looked at by his cousin, and he lowered his eyes secretly, and didn't say anything. You say. Wu Yusen was very happy to solve a problem for Lin Fan. My sister and brother-in-law both work at Geo Construction Company. If they want to connect their company with Riri-han, is it a problem? Lin Fan had long understood what the cousin's husband meant, and he asked casually for a matter of a word. When the cousin's husband heard that there was a chance, he became excited again, held his wife's hand tightly, and looked at Lin Fan nervously. Others definitely can't do it, but I still have to give Minister Lin face. Wu Yusen said loudly. Let them leave you their contact information, and you can give it to me later. I'll let the corresponding department contact them again. But let's make it clear first, it's just a connection, and whether it works depends on their company's own qualifications. Don't blame you if it doesn't work. Wu Yusen knew that everyone was listening, so he said it in advance. Of course. My cousin's husband nodded repeatedly. Thank you so much. Don't thank me, thank your Lin Fan. Wu Yusen didn't take credit for it. Anything else? No, thank you. Lin Fan smiled. Why are you being polite to me? Okay, hang up first. Wu Yusen seemed to have something else to do, and quickly hung up the phone. Oh, that's great, Xiao. Thank you. The aunt understood the whole story, and looking at the expressions of her daughter and son-in-law, this is a great thing. You're welcome, we are a family. Lin Fan didn't bother to meddle. It was because her aunt's family had always been very good to her that she was able to help. It was just a matter of words, so why not do it? The cousin held Lin Fan's hand with gratitude in her eyes. I won't say more, my sister and brother-in-law have all remembered it. I'll thank you again when we get back to Gao. No. Lin Fan waved his hands again and again, but her aunt's family became more polite. Seeing this, Lin's mother was very proud and the smile on her face never stopped. Her daughter made her proud. Here are 3,000 words. Lin's mother agreed with Lin Fan from the bottom of her heart. Monthly tickets, recommendation tickets, comments, and interactions. The more the better. Muah. Chapter 259 Xingchen is hungry. Because of this matter, the aunt's family was very grateful to Lin Fan. And the many compliments from the aunt to Lin's mother just soothed Lin's mother's heart. She felt that the food prepared for lunch was not enough to match the current joy, so she waved her arm and took people to the restaurant. Lin's mother's cooking skills were only average. Although she would put a lot of salty goods and cold dishes on the table, it was just for fun. As for the taste, it was just an ordinary home-cooked taste. It was not delicious, but mainly for the atmosphere. but that was the previous reception standard. After knowing that Lin Fan's job was so awesome, Lin's mother instantly felt that her careful preparation would lower her daughter's status. Anyway, the family's financial conditions have been good in the past 2 years. The last time we went to the restaurant during the Chinese New Year, it was easy. Lin Fan glanced at the dishes that were almost ready and piled up in the kitchen, and then looked at Lin's mother, who was smiling so hard that her teeth were not visible. She hadn't been so proud for a long time. Forget it, let her be happy. The aunt's family also followed the host's wishes and did not say anything polite. Because it was a last-minute decision, they were afraid that they would not be able to find a restaurant with vacancies without a reservation. The two families went out early. In the car of the cousin's husband, the eldest uncle asked a question. Is this Xiaofan's job real? Why does it feel so sudden? He also thought it was true when it was talked about before, but now he calmed down and thought about it. Could Lin Fan be so amazing? In the impression of the eldest uncle, Lin Fan has been very ordinary since childhood, and there is nothing outstanding about her. To put it bluntly, she is not as good as her daughter in everything. Why did she explode suddenly? Obviously, she was almost dead before. How can it not be true? The eldest aunt was a little unhappy. Xiaofan has been an honest child since childhood, and I have never heard her lie. Lin Fan knew that the eldest aunt believed her so much, and she must feel guilty. It should be true. My cousin said softly, there is an official seal on the work badge of Special Assistant Wu. I don't think it's fake. And I still believe in Xiaofan's character. Whether it is true or not, we will know if anyone contacts us after the new year. My cousin's husband also thought it through. This thing is real and can't be fake. Even if it is fake, we won't lose much, just a few words. That's right. My uncle nodded. It would be great if it is true. It's good for you and their family. If it is true, then Xiaofan's salary may be more than 1 million a year. My cousin's husband said again. I think the attitude of the special assistant of the general manager's office towards her should not be as simple as that of an ordinary minister. It should be more than that. My cousin nodded in the passenger seat. Her clothes are very expensive, and the hair accessories on her head are also expensive. It doesn't seem like someone with an annual income of 300,000 would spend money. Jin Sichin accompanied her to buy the clothes and hair accessories that day. After all, my cousin is a woman, and she knows a little more about this than others. From head to toe, it adds up to almost 10,000. According to Lin Fan's previous personality, to put it nicely, he is more pragmatic, and to put it bluntly, he is a bit stingy. She could spend 10,000 yuan on a set of clothes for the new year, so the money she earned that year must be more than 300,000 yuan. Why did she hide it from her family? The eldest uncle didn't understand. If his daughter could make so much money, wouldn't he be so happy? I think she should have told the second uncle, but she didn't tell the second aunt. The cousin noticed that when Lin's father talked about the salary dispute, his expression didn't change at all, proving that he knew the inside story. Oh, is this to prevent her mother from making trouble again after knowing that she has money? The eldest uncle suddenly realized. Everyone knew about Lin's mother's squandering of the family before, and sighed for a long time. A good family was tossed like this, but fortunately, the money was gone, but the family was still there. Now that Lin Fan can make money again, life is obviously getting better. Okay, let's not discuss it for now. It's really the best. If not, let's talk about it later. The eldest aunt finally made the final decision, and ended the topic. Everyone was lucky today, and it was easy to find a restaurant with empty private rooms. After finishing the meal happily, Lin's mother took the eldest aunt's family to the famous wetland park. Last year she wanted to go with Xiao Song, but Lin's father wouldn't let her. He couldn't stop her this year, could he? The group spent the whole afternoon in the wetland park. Although it was winter, and the temperature was low, there were many plants in the wetland park and the air was good. In addition, there was no wind and the sun was shining that day. Everyone had a great time. At around 4 o'clock in the evening, Neo was so tired that he fell asleep. Lin Fan's family watched her cousin's husband's car leave. When Lin's father drove them back home, it was getting dark. Lin's mother hummed a song and went into the kitchen to prepare dinner. Lin's father was also very happy. Lin Fan received recognition and praise from his relatives, which was completely different from the polite praise from neighbors and ordinary friends. Lin's father decided to have a few more drinks in the evening. Lin Fan felt relieved when he saw the two elders happy. Sure enough, this year was still good, right? Xiao Fan, come and take these plates out. There's no room in the kitchen. Lin's mother's voice came from the kitchen. Lin Fan went in obediently, picked up 2 plates and walked out. As soon as she walked out of the kitchen door, she suddenly felt numb all over and dizzy. With 2 bangs and bangs, the plate fell to the ground. Lin Fan quickly held the kitchen door frame to stand firm. The black and bright in front of her eyes, the numbness disappeared. Could it be that she has not eaten enough recently? Xingqian's energy is not enough. Lin Fan thought. She only dared to eat 1.5 bowls of food these days. After all, without Song Ren and the others to distract her attention, she would suddenly eat too much and attract the attention of her parents. She always thought that after the upgrade, the food intake would only affect Xingqian's standby time. In addition, she would take fruits and snacks to her room to eat secretly at night, so she thought there would be no effect. Now think about it, maybe she was thinking wrong. She still needs to eat more. May you be safe every year. Every year. Mother Lin rushed out and took a look at Lin Fan, who was not injured, and began to mutter again. You are so old. How can you not even hold a plate properly? What's wrong? What's wrong? Father Lin came out of the room and saw that Lin Fan's face seemed a little bad and hurried to comfort him. It's okay, as long as you are okay. Mother Lin wanted to call Lin Fan to clean up, but was interrupted by Father Lin. Are you tired this afternoon? Go sit on the sofa first. I'll do it. Mother Lin couldn't leave the pot and didn't care who cleaned it up, so she turned around and walked back to the kitchen. Lin Fan felt it carefully again, and all parts of her body were very flexible, without any discomfort. If the residue on the ground had not been cleaned up, she would have thought that the discomfort just now was just an illusion. She didn't dare to be careless, and walked a few steps to the sofa to sit down, took a handful of chocolate gold coins, and opened them to eat. Mother Lin brought out the dishes, and saw the gold coin shells on the coffee table, and she was anxious. Hey, it's almost time for dinner. Why are you eating so much chocolate? Aren't you going to have dinner? Oh, I see. Lin Fan ate more than a dozen chocolates in one breath, thinking that it was enough for now. She would eat more secretly in her room at night. Thanks to the fruit plates, melon seeds, peanuts, chocolate candies during the Chinese New Year, they are high in calories and large in quantity. She will go out to buy some more tomorrow to replenish them, and try not to let Lin's mother find out that she is eating secretly. After dinner, Lin's mother kept staring at Lin Fan. She was going to nag her when she said she couldn't eat anymore. Unexpectedly, she ate more than usual. Did she scold her too harshly just now? Lin's mother reflected secretly, but she really couldn't remember what her attitude was just now. In a blink of an eye, Lin Fan swept away all the dishes on the table. Hey you idiot, you eat like this. Isn't your belly going to burst? Lin's mother scolded and looked at Lin Fan's belly, really worried that she would get hurt. As a result, the stomach is flat. Lin's mother touched it with her hand, and then looked at the empty bowls on the table. No matter how hard she thought, she couldn't figure out where all the dishes went. After the meal, Lin Fan wanted to help Lin's mother clean up, but Lin's mother was afraid that she would be full, so she asked her to walk in the living room to digest the food, and she and Lin's father cleaned up. Seeing Lin's mother's urgent eyes, Lin Fan could only walk around the coffee table obediently. She even looked back from time to time to supervise when she was washing the dishes, and Lin Fan was convinced. She continued to walk with a smile. Come to think of it, she hasn't exercised for a long time. Should she get up and exercise tomorrow? Knock, knock, knock. There was a knock on the door. Lin Fan looked. It was already 8 o'clock in the evening, the second day of the Chinese New Year. Who could it be? When he opened the door, he saw a middle-aged woman with curly hair standing outside the door. She looked familiar and seemed to be Lin's mother's friend. There was also a young man standing behind her, maybe her son. Oh, Xiaofan, you are so beautiful now. The woman saw Lin Fan opening the door outside the door, and her eyes lit up. Thank you, auntie. You are. Lin Fan had only met Lin's mother's friends a few times, so he couldn't even call out their names. I'm your Aunt Wang. The woman who called herself Aunt Wang looked at Lin Fan's pretty face and smiled so hard that her teeth couldn't be seen. Come on, guess what this person is here for? Today, I saw that the popularity ranking is 401. Haha, I hope it can reach 400 by the end of this month. My dears, please vote for me more, comment and interact with me. These can help me rank higher and get bonuses. Thank you everyone. Muah. Chapter 260 Aunt Wang. Mother Lin heard a familiar voice in the kitchen and came out wiping her hands. Hey, Xiao Wang, hurry up. Come in. Why are you here at this time? Why didn't you call in advance? Mother Lin was very happy when she saw Aunt Wang. This was her old bestie who danced with Square Dance. They had a close relationship. I haven't congratulated you yet, Aunt Wang said auspicious words as she walked in. Congratulations on your health, all the best, and the addition of a new baby to your family this year. Congratulations to you too, for eternal youth and prosperity. Mother Lin happily welcomed the person in. Seeing a young man standing outside, she was stunned for a moment. Isn't this your Xiao Lu? Aunt Wang's husband's surname was Lu, and they had a son. Mother Lin called him Xiao Lu and had seen him several times. No, this is my nephew from my mother's family, the one I told you about before. Aunt Wang reminded Mother Lin. Seeing that she seemed to have remembered, she turned around and greeted her. Come on, come in quickly, Kit, why didn't you call someone? He is just honest. The man was in his 30s, not tall, and a little fat. He was wearing a medium-length black down jacket. He glanced at Lin Fan who was pressing the door knob and stepped into the Lin family. Auntie, Happy New Year. Ah, Happy New Year, Happy New Year. Lin's mother's face was a little stiff and she seemed to be a little out of shape and a little dazed. Where is the gift you brought? Give it to Lin Fan. Aunt Wang was very happy and instructed her nephew. Lin Fan closed the door and saw the other party handing over a bag of fruit and a box of milk, but because he didn't hear Lin's mother's voice, he didn't know whether to accept it. Shouldn't he say something like, since you are here, why are you still polite at this time? Oh, come on, why are you so polite? Lin's father finished washing the dishes and broke the deadlock. Lin Fan received the order, quickly took the things, and said thank you. Oh, look at your Lin Fan. Aunt Wang suddenly came over and tried to hold Lin Fan's hand, but she dodged it without a trace. Aunt Wang didn't notice it and walked around Lin Fan in a circle, making a tsk sound from her mouth. Isn't your Lin Fan in his 30s this year? How can he look like that? Some people would believe him if he said he was a high school or college student. Lin Fan smiled. Come on, Lin Fan, chat with Aunt Wang. Aunt Wang was pulled to the sofa by Lin's mother and patted the empty seat next to her. What could she talk about with this person? Lin Fan was speechless. She had nothing to talk about with her parents. She always tried to accommodate them and find topics to talk about. This middle-aged woman who was so familiar with people was really not worth her effort. But she couldn't say it directly. She had to give face to Lin's mother. Lin Fan, who was used to telling lies, smiled politely and said to her, I'm so sorry, Aunt Wang, I have something to deal with at the company, so I can't accompany you for now. Have fun. After that, she politely nodded to the strange man next to her, hid in her room, and closed the door. No matter what she wanted, she was going to find Lin's mother anyway. Lin Fan sat in the room playing with her phone, listening to the loud chatter outside. She thought it was too noisy and put on headphones. After an unknown amount of time, her door suddenly opened. Aunt Wang pushed the door open with a smile. Xiao Fan, sorry to bother you. Lin Fan took off his headphones. Although he was unhappy, he had to give face to Lin's mother. He smiled and replied, no bother. My nephew is a supermarket manager. He recently bought a house and wants to renovate it. I said your house is beautiful and brought him to visit it. Aunt Wang smiled like a chrysanthemum. He has seen other places, but your room is the only one he hasn't seen yet. Oh, look. Lin Fan stood up and hid in the corner by the door, watching the two of them walk around in a place that can be seen clearly at a glance. The decoration of the Lin family cannot be said to be bad. when they were decorating, they still had some money, and coupled with the aesthetic problems of their parents' generation, it was a standard Navo-ish style. Everything is fancy and exudes the breath of money. Lin Fan couldn't appreciate it anyway. She liked simple and fresh styles. But the decoration was already done. She didn't live there for more than a few days a year, and she didn't pay for it at the beginning, so naturally she didn't have any objections. But she didn't expect that there would be young people who liked this style and came to visit her house. Lin Fan shook her head secretly and continued to play with her mobile phone in the corner. Aunt Wang also asked her a few questions, such as whether she liked to lie on the bed and watch TV. Did she like the pink curtains in the room? Which one was better, wooden floors or tiles? Lin Fan answered inexplicably. It was not until Lin's father asked them to go out for fruit that Aunt Wang took her nephew out of her room. Oh, by the way, Xiaofan, do you like roast duck? Lin Fan had just breathed a sigh of relief when Aunt Wang turned around and asked. Well, yes. Although Lin Fan's preference and taste for food have not recovered yet, it is true that he liked roast duck before. My nephew also likes roast duck. Today, I saw a newly opened roast duck restaurant in the big market. It's delicious. You must buy some for Xiaofan to try. Aunt Wang recommended it to Lin's mother. Really? It's open today. Then I'll go back and take a look tomorrow. Lin's mother took it to heart. The two chatted for a while, and it was not until after 9 o'clock that Aunt Wang took the people to say goodbye. Lin Fan even came out to see them off, showing thoughtful etiquette. After the guests left, Lin's father and mother were also tired. They had been busy all day, but they didn't expect that there would be guests in the evening. They washed up and rested early. Lin Fan listened to the sound in the room. After making sure that Lin's father and mother were lying on the bed watching TV and would not suddenly come out, he tiptoed to the living room and prepared to secretly take something back to the room to eat. As a result, the snack box that was full at dinner was now only the bottom, and there was no chocolate left. Lin Fan had no choice but to grab 2 handfuls of candy and put them in his pocket. What kind of person is this? Being a guest at someone else's house, eating snacks as meals? Did she not have dinner? Forget it. She will go to the supermarket to buy some tomorrow and put them in her room. This way, she won't have to act like a thief when eating at home. Lin Fan closed the door quietly and exhaled. Her mental quality is still not good enough. She hid in her room to replenish her energy secretly, not knowing that Lin's father and mother were arguing in the room. How could you agree to bring someone home? Lin's father was not very happy when he knew the purpose of Wang's visit, but he was an old businessman, so he would not show it on his face. It was not me who agreed. Lin's mother also felt wronged. If you don't agree, can she bring someone to our house on the new year? I don't believe it. Does she have such a sense? Lin's father hasn't been angry for a long time. I really didn't agree. Lin's mother might have felt a little guilty, so she didn't dare to speak loudly so that Lin Fan could hear. She mentioned her nephew when we were dancing before. She said he was in his 30s, had just been promoted to supermarket manager, and his family had bought a house. She wanted to introduce him to Lin Fan. I didn't think that Xiaofan had a little Song by his side, so I didn't agree to her. After seeing Song Ren, Lin's mother ignored everyone else. Who would have thought that she would suddenly bring someone to my house today? I was caught off guard. It's the new year, and she brought gifts to my house. I can't chase her away, right? Lin's mother was also confused at the time. I can't let Xiaofan know, otherwise with her temper, she would have gone crazy directly. It's the new year, who can look good on the face? Lin's mother still understood Lin Fan to some extent, so she was happy to see Lin Fan hiding in the room. Fortunately, Xiao Wang didn't say it clearly, so everyone talked about it vaguely. But in the end, the matter of entering Lin Fan's room was not noticed at the time, and it was not stopped. It was too deliberate to go in and pull the person out. Alas. Lin's father sighed. Then you'd better hope that Xiaofan never knows that she was stared at for so long today like a commodity waiting to be sold. Everyone guessed it. Amazing. Have you ever seen such a tactless person in your life? I hope you don't meet one. But why didn't you notice the moment when Lin Fan fainted? It's a foreshadowing. I thought someone would comment there. Monthly tickets, recommendation tickets, comments. Come on. There are only a few days left. Chapter 261, Becoming Small. When it comes to dating, either both parties should know about it from the beginning, or just never let the other party know. Otherwise, like Lin Fan, she knows nothing, but others are watching her and criticizing her in their hearts, picking and choosing, which is very passive and humiliating. Not to mention that Lin Fan is beautiful, young, has a good job and a high income now. Even when she was sick and couldn't take care of herself in the past, Lin's father couldn't bear to let his girl suffer such an insult. Besides, the boy was not that good. He was short and fat and didn't look good. He ate as soon as he sat down. Not only did he finish all the snacks in his house, but he also grabbed a handful and stuffed them into his pocket and took them away. Although snacks are originally prepared for guests, they can't be eaten like this. Lin's father either felt sorry for the candy money or felt that this person had a problem with his character. The man surnamed Wang kept mentioning that he became a supermarket manager and had a house at home. Lin's father didn't understand. How big of an official is a supermarket manager? How great is it? Do you need to keep mentioning it over and over again? And the house. According to the customs in Yangcheng, it is normal for the man to provide a house when getting married. It is basically a matter of convention and does not need to be brought up deliberately. Judging from the man's character, the house is most likely saved up by his parents. What is there to be proud of? Unlike his Xiaofan, he gave the family 1.2 million last year. It is enough to buy a house. The difference is obvious with this comparison. What's more, Wang's words imply that Xiaofan is old. Although Lin's father and mother are also worried about Lin Fan's old age and not getting married, they can say so, but others cannot bring it up. So not only Lin's father, but also Lin's mother is always unhappy. It's just that because of face, the other party didn't say it clearly, and it was the new year, so it was not easy to make a fuss. Xiao Wang is really something. How could he suddenly do such a thing? Lin's mother was also annoyed, but she didn't know who to vent to. According to me, you should have less contact with such people in the future. Dad Lin turned over and turned his back to Mom Lin. Don't mess up your good life. You. Mom Lin wanted to retort, but she felt guilty. In the end, she didn't retort, but sighed deeply. This matter. How did it happen? The consequence of Lin Fan eating candy as a midnight snack was that she had a nightmare that her cavities turned into monsters and chased Xingchen. The indestructible Xingchen couldn't resist a tooth and was beaten by it with a toothbrush. Xingchen could only roll on the ground. Lin Fan woke up from the dream and gasped. What the hell is going on? The sun had already risen outside, hanging brightly in the sky. It was another sunny day. The house was quiet, without any sound, as if Dad Lin and Mom Lin had gone out. Lin Fan lay in bed for a while, crossed the candy after day's shopping list, and decided to get up. She sat up carelessly and immediately noticed something was wrong. In her room, on the wall facing the bed, there was a 39-inch TV. In order for her to watch it while lying on the bed, the TV was specially hung at a position where she could see it at eye level while sitting on the bed. But now she sat up, and she could only see the bottom edge of the TV and a white wall. Slowly looking up, the TV moved up, and seemed to have become bigger. Lin Fan's head was full of question marks. Looking up along the TV, why did the ceiling become so high? The cabinets also became bigger, the windows also became bigger, and the bedside lamp also became bigger. Lin Fan suddenly realized something, and looked at her hands. The pink furry sleeves were dragging long, and her hands could not be stretched out at all. Turning her head again, the 1.8 meter bed, which was originally just wide, now looked like a huge cushion, and she was trapped between this cushion and the quilt. Lin Fan quickly lifted the quilt with her hands, that could not be pulled out. Sure enough, under the furry bunny's pajamas, there were invisible short legs. She became smaller! Exclamation mark. Lin Fan felt unbelievable. She dug and dug, finally getting her hands out of her sleeves. The short hands with dimples were indescribably cute, but only if they weren't on her body. It's okay that she's getting younger, but how come she's getting smaller? Exclamation mark. Lin Fan lifted her pajamas, revealing her tender legs that looked like lotus roots, and her small feet with cute round toes like pearls. Lin Fan suddenly remembered that when they were in 800, they had discussed the situation that cells would become smaller after activation. But at that time, Kuang Li said that it would only remain at its strongest state, and since there had been no obvious changes in the past few months, everyone thought that Lin Fan's condition had stabilized. How did it suddenly become smaller? Exclamation mark. Lin Fan's heart was full of rage. This is her home. Fortunately, her parents seemed to have gone out this morning, otherwise, wouldn't they be scared to death when they opened the door and came in? How would she make up a story then? Now was not the time to think about these things, so she had to ask for help quickly. Lin Fan used his hands and feet to crawl to the head of the bed to get the phone that was charging on the bedside table. But things that were easy to do normally seemed very difficult in this shrunken body. On the one hand, she had not yet adapted to this small body, and on the other hand, her long furry rabbit pajamas and bedding were tangled together, constantly tripping her hands and feet. She climbed up the mountains and crossed the ridges with great momentum, but she always tossed and turned in the same place and had to patiently roll up her sleeves in the hem of her clothes. Just then, there was a noise at the door, and Lin's father and mother came back. Lin Fan's hands began to tremble as he rolled up his sleeves, and his heart jumped directly into his throat. Xiao Fan hasn't woken up yet? Lin's mother's voice rang out. Seeing that Lin Fan's door was still closed, she was a little dissatisfied. This child, how old is he? And he doesn't wake up early. If the child wants to sleep more, let her sleep more. Who do you care? Lin's father always indulged Lin Fan. You're the one who spoiled me. Lin's mother changed her slippers and walked towards Lin Fan's room. You're such a grown girl, but you're still not up at 8 o'clock. People will scold you. Lin Fan gritted her teeth and rolled up her sleeves, pulled up her skirt, pulled her legs out of the quilt, and crawled. At the moment when Lin's mother grabbed the door handle, she turned to the side of the bed. A muffled bang startled Lin's mother, who was about to open the door. What's the sound? She frowned and asked. There's no sound. I'll close the door. Lin's father just closed the door at this time. Lin's mother frowned. Why did she hear the sound coming from Xiaofan's room? She suddenly pushed the door open. The room was quiet, and there was no sign of Lin Fan on the bed. Hey, where's Xiaofan? Lin's mother pushed the door to the wall and leaned against the door suction. You don't even know to open the door to ventilate when you get up. As she spoke, she walked into the room and opened the window a little to ventilate. She also walked to the bed and spread the messy quilt. She's such a grown-up girl, but she doesn't even know how to spread out her quilt when she gets up. What a mess. Lin's mother complained. Hey, why is it still warm? Lin's father walked past the room. Did she just get up to exercise? I remember she would get up early to exercise last year, but she hasn't done it once this year. Oh, that's right. Lin's mother nodded, spread out the quilt and walked out. This child, she didn't even tell us when she went out. Aren't we not at home? Did she have to call us to tell us? She's just downstairs anyway. Lin's father helped to refute. That's how you are, protecting her in everything. The two of them talked back and forth and started their daily quarrel again. Lin Fan, who was hiding under the bed, breathed a sigh of relief quietly and gently rubbed his arms and legs that were hurt from the fall. Fortunately, the bed was not filled with things, and there was still a little space for her to hide. With the long bedsheet hanging down, Lin's mother could never have imagined that the person she was talking about was right under her feet. At that time, the tip of her shoe was only 0.01 centimeters away from Lin Fan. If she moved a little further in, she would be able to touch her beloved daughter. This level was passed, but what should she do next? The shrunken Lin Fan huddled into a ball, blowing the cold wind coming in through the window. What should she do? Oh, little Lin Fan, do you want to see this? If you don't want to, I'll let her change back earlier. Ha 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 ha. By the way, there haven't been many comments recently. Is it because I wrote something wrong? I keep checking the comments, but there is nothing every time. I feel a little disappointed. Don't forget to vote and interact. Muah. Chapter 262, Eating Your Own Melon. After Lin's mother walked out of the room, she went straight to the dining table, pulled her chair and sat down, and began to prepare the dishes for lunch. Lin Fan quietly poked his head out and carefully observed from under the bedsheet. Through the door frame, He saw that Lin's mother was sitting with her back to the room. He could see the back of her head, which meant that, as long as she turned around, she might see the little person hiding under the bed. Lin Fan hurriedly and carefully retreated until she could only see Lin's mother's ankles and slippers from under the bedsheet, and then she felt a little relieved. In this way, she could clearly see the movements of Lin's mother and father, but they would probably not notice her hiding in the dark. She gently wrapped the long part of the furry bunny pajamas around her body, at least making herself a little warmer. Fortunately, I don't know if it's because of the cell activation, she doesn't seem to be as afraid of the cold as usual recently. Otherwise, just this moment, she would be so cold that she would burst into tears, and sooner or later she would sneeze. Well, by then, she wouldn't be able to hide it. But this is not a solution. My body is getting colder and colder. Lin Fan wrapped himself up again with his gradually stiff hands, staring at Lin's mother's feet in the living room without blinking, and tried to think of a solution with his frozen head. Make 1,000 paper cranes, and tie a red belt. A high-pitched soprano suddenly sounded, and Lin Fan shuddered suddenly. It was Lin's mother's cell phone ringing. Hey, help me get it. Lin's mother was still picking vegetables, so she instructed Lin's father. It's the one from last night. You have to explain it to her clearly. Lin's father took the phone out of his bag, took a look at it, and handed it to the table with disdain, and even turned on the hands-free considerately. Anyway, Xiao Fan was not at home, so he was not afraid of her hearing it. Lin Fan saw Lin's father's feet in his field of vision, and hurriedly moved closer, fearing that the alert Lin's father would find something unusual. I know. Lin's mother didn't want to pick vegetables anymore, wiped her hands, and sat on the sofa with her phone. When Lin Fan saw that they all walked away, he knew that the opportunity was not to be missed, so he quickly crawled to the bedside table. Afraid of being discovered by her parents who were outside, and whose whereabouts were unknown, and also limited by the clothes of the fluffy rabbit, she didn't dare to crawl out to get it directly. She could only reach out along the bedside table and carefully reach for the phone line, trying to get the phone in her hand to ask for help. Hey, Xiao Wang, did you pull something at home last night? Lin's mother, who didn't know that her daughter was already frozen, sat on the sofa. Oh, no. I have something great to tell you. Aunt Wang's high-pitched voice was full of joy. My nephew, when he came out of your house yesterday, he told me that he liked your xylophone. He urged me to call you early in the morning to tell you. I have never seen him so concerned about anything. Nonsense. Lin's father and mother rolled their eyes at the same time. His xylophone is so beautiful now, which man would be blind to look down on her? But this is just thinking about it in your mind. How can you say it directly on the phone? Lin's mother looked at Lin's father while holding the phone and suddenly didn't know what to say. At this time, Lin Fan, who they thought was not at home, just narrowly caught the phone that almost fell to the floor and retreated under the bed. Before she could think of who to ask for help, she was attracted by the conversation outside. What's going on? What happened when she didn't know? If you ask me, why not find an opportunity for young people to date each other? Aunt Wang had already made arrangements over there. My xylophone has been busy with work recently and can't take care of dating for the time being. Lin's mother tried hard to think of an excuse. That boy yesterday, let alone xylophone, she didn't like him either. Isn't Xiao-san handsome? Isn't Xiao attractive? Compared with them, that boy is simply frustrated. Those are all children's words. You as a mother have to make the decision for her. Aunt Wang didn't know if she didn't hear the rejection, and she continued to persuade. How old is your xylophone? If you delay for another 2 years, she will be 40. Will anyone want her by then? No one wants you. My xylophone is young and beautiful now, and looks only 20 years old. Why doesn't anyone want her? Lin's father stared at the phone with wide eyes. It's true that your xylophone looks young and beautiful, but isn't she old enough? If you wait another 2 years, it will be difficult to have a child. Aunt Wang added another heavy hammer. It's difficult for you to have a child. How can you say that? Lin's mother was also angry. But it's New Year's Day, and she is kind-hearted. You can't scold her face, right? Will you still dance this dance in the future? When Xiao Wang tells her dancing friends about it, who knows what they will say? What if they say it in a messy way? Where will she save face? My Xianophan is very opinionated. How could he listen to us? Aunt Lin found another excuse. Besides, didn't the two children meet yesterday? My Xianophan doesn't like us. Oh, we only saw each other yesterday. What can we know? Aunt Wang also tried her best for her nephew. Let's meet again and chat. Maybe we can find common interests. Your Xianophan and my nephew both like to eat roast duck. You see, isn't this a common interest? Seeing that this person didn't understand, Aunt Lin gritted her teeth and said it directly. Forget it. What if the two of them can't get along and have an unpleasant conversation? Can we meet again? Most people, hearing this, should know that it is a rejection. But Aunt Wang is obviously not an ordinary person. Oh, they are this, and we are ours. Young people, there is no harm in making more friends. Mother Lin frowned, and before she could think of a rebuttal, the other party said, then it's settled. You ask your Xianophan to come out and sit down for a while these 2 days. Okay, I won't bother you anymore. That's it. The words were spoken as fast and urgent as a machine gun, and she hung up the phone without saying anything. Mother Lin looked at the hung up call page and wondered if Xiao Wang knew that she was rejecting him, but didn't accept it. At this time, it usually depends on who is more shameless. Look, I told you to explain it clearly. Why did you make an appointment? Father Lin frowned and scolded. I didn't. Mother Lin never knew that her dance partner had such a strong side. I didn't even have time to say anything, and she hung up. Then call her again. Explain it to her. Father Lin ordered unhappily. It feels so bad to be manipulated. Mother Lin turned on her phone and hesitated again. Since it's come to this, why don't you just forget it? She felt that it would be too embarrassing to fight back now. As if such a small matter couldn't move the child. Lin's father was furious. If you don't refuse her, do you really want Xianophan to go out with her? How are you going to ask Xianophan? Will Xianophan agree? Lin's mother was also in a dilemma, but she didn't want to lose face in front of her friends. Don't tell her about the date, just let her go and make an ordinary friend, right? It's not a big deal. Date? Lin Fan listened from beginning to end, and she already had an idea in her mind, and frowned slightly. What did the man look like? She didn't even look at him. Do you think Xianophan is stupid? Lin's father was very angry. What kind of good is that guy? Is it worth it for Xianophan to go out and make an ordinary friend with him? Besides, we don't mean that, so we shouldn't give people hope. You are. He stood up, paced back and forth for a few steps, pointed at Lin's mother and scolded. You are always like this. You mess up the family for those unknown people. Aren't you comfortable with the good days these 2 days? You have to quarrel, make Xianophan angry and leave. Is it so difficult to refuse? Give me your phone and I will talk to her. As he said that, he wanted to go up and grab Lin's mother's mobile phone. Doesn't she know what kind of a nephew she is? He still wants to be my son-in-law? A toad wants to eat swan meat. Lin's mother was also unwilling to agree to this. Although what Lin's father said touched her heart, his attitude angered her. She suddenly felt rebellious and stretched her hand far away to prevent Lin's father from getting the phone. What are you doing? It's just a small matter. Why are you making a fuss? Go ask Xianophan later and see what she says. What if she agrees? She'll agree to nothing. Lin's father rushed over to grab the phone from Lin's mother. If she knew that she was stared at by two ignorant people for so long last night without knowing it, she wouldn't even bother to talk to you and would just walk away. It's not that I want to do this. I didn't even agree to her bringing people over. It's not that she came to my house suddenly and I was caught off guard. I can't stop her from coming in. I'll let her in, and she found out. Lin's mother also felt wronged. Lin Fan suddenly realized it. She said that it was a room that could be seen clearly with both eyes, but two people insisted on walking back and forth. So that's what happened. Originally, she thought they were Lin's mother's friends. No matter how weird it was, she didn't take it to heart. But after what Lin's father said, she got angry and became annoyed with Lin's mother. No one would feel happy to be completely kept in the dark like her and be criticized by others like picking goods. What is going on? Exclamation mark. Even if you really can't stop the other party, tell her in time and let her know the situation before dealing with it, instead of letting things develop and covering up like now, a bunch of messes. Okay. Lin Fan grabbed the ears of the fluffy rabbit and bit her lower lip angrily. If her physical condition didn't allow it now, she would have rushed out to argue. Although she had decided to reconcile with Lin's mother before, that was all about old grudges. Everything that happened yesterday was like yesterday's death, but what should I do if today's new grudge comes again? Oh. Lin's mother suddenly shouted. Lin's father was startled and forgot to grab the phone. He asked nervously, "What's wrong?" Could it be that Xiaofan heard what we said in the room last night, so he ran away early in the morning? Lin's mother stood up and hurried to Lin Fan's room. Lin's father also hurried to catch up. It was not until she saw the clothes Lin Fan wore yesterday still on the chair and the luggage bag that Lin's mother breathed a sigh of relief and said to Lin's father, who was looking out, "You scared me, but the things are all here." She didn't leave. Lin Fan tried to shrink back. It would be ridiculous if he was discovered at this time. But it's already past 9 o'clock. Why hasn't she come back yet? Lin's mother asked in confusion. I'd better call her and ask. She dialed the number. Lin Fan under the bed opened her eyes wide. The phone was in her hand. Another big chapter of 3,000 words. Lin Fan is freezing to death. How can he get out? The ranking has dropped to 406. Covering his face. Forget it. Let nature take its course. If I get it, I'm lucky. If I don't, it's my fate. I have to work harder. Clenched my fist. My temperature has dropped for several days, and I'm freezing to death too. My hands are frozen, and it's hard to type. I feel hot when I wash my hands with 40-degree hot water. My hands are not flexible when I wear half gloves, but I don't want to turn on the air conditioner. I touch the hot water cup to cover my hands after typing for a while. Haha, it's so miserable. The efficiency is so low. I need tickets and interaction. Thank you everyone. Chapter 263, The Runaway Child. Lin Fan quickly pressed the volume button until the ringtone went silent. Then he put the phone against his chest to prevent the screen from lighting up and being discovered by others. He couldn't hang up. Once Lin's mother hung up, she kept calling. Why didn't the kid answer the phone again? Lin's mother complained. After waiting for a long time without getting through, she must have been running and didn't hear it. Lin's father explained. Okay, Xiaofan will be back soon. Since you have decided to talk to her, you should think about how to start the conversation. Lin's father didn't want to care about Lin's mother anymore. Once his wife had a few days of good life, she couldn't control herself and wanted to be angry again. She wouldn't listen to anyone's advice unless she got herself into trouble. She would only wake up when Xiaofan threw her in her face without any hesitation. It's a pity that this year, that's all, Xiaofan stayed one day longer than last year. It's a blessing, not a curse. It's a curse that can't be avoided. Father Lin was worried, but also hoped that Lin Fan would make a scene after knowing about it to shock Mother Lin. After all, after the visit of her eldest sister-in-law and her family, her daughter's status in her mother's heart has been significantly improved. If she doesn't treat it now, something bad will happen sooner or later. Father Lin paced and sat on the sofa to drink tea. When he waved his hand, Mother Lin became even more uneasy. Hey, do you think Xiaofan will jump up after knowing about it? Mother Lin sat down next to Father Lin and asked hesitantly. What do you think? Father Lin took a sip of tea unhappily. Worrying now? What did you do before? Mother Lin was indeed worried in vain on this point. Her Lin Fan was huddled under the bed, and it was too late to hide, so how could he dare to jump up? I'd better go buy her a roast duck to make her happy. Mother Lin suddenly remembered that Xiao Wang mentioned the newly opened roast duck restaurant last night. If she is happy, maybe she won't be so angry. Father Lin did not comment. Is this something that can be solved by a roast duck? Naive. Mother Lin got up in a hurry, walked to the door, and turned back to pull Father Lin. Come on, drive me there, or I won't be able to buy it later. Father Lin had no choice but to let his daughter eat more delicious food, so he followed Mother Lin out of the house obediently. After the door was closed for a few minutes, Lin Fan made sure that there was no movement outside, then rolled out from under the bed, quickly got up, and rubbed her whole body. She was really freezing to death. But why was she so short? She had been curled up under the bed and didn't know what was going on, but now that she stood up straight, she realized that her eyes could just look directly at the things on the desk. Desks are usually 70 to 80 centimeters high, which means that Lin Fan's current height is only 80 to 90 centimeters, less than 1 meter. But at this time, there was no time to think so much. After Lin Fan rubbed her body to warm it up and was not so stiff, she quickly put on clothes. There was no other way, as there was no suitable clothes for her at home. She couldn't just go out like this, right? She would be frozen to death. She still had to wear clothes, so she went out first. Lin Fan quickly rolled up the sleeves and hem of the rabbit fur to a suitable height. She tied a knot around her waist for the pants that kept slipping down. She pulled out her fleece-covered long johns and put them on. She rolled them up, and they became 3 layers. Unfortunately, it was hard to tie a knot around her waist. Fortunately, she bought a new belt on Jin Sichin's recommendation the last time she went shopping, and she brought it back this time. She fixed the long johns with one hand, and then folded the hem of the furry rabbit on top. With her other hand, Lin Fan pulled out the belt that was originally used as a decoration from her jeans, wrapped it around her waist twice and buckled it, finally fixing the clothes that kept slipping down. Finally, she put on her down jacket. The length that originally covered her buttocks now just reached her feet. Lin Fan breathed a sigh of relief and was glad that she bought a short down jacket this year. She quickly zipped it up and put on her socks. Then she stuffed all the luggage on the chair into her luggage bag. She also stuffed her mobile phone into her small carry-on bag and wrapped the long chain around her body 3 times before hanging the bag on her chest. She had to leave quickly so as not to run into her parents coming back again. She took out her sneakers from the shoe cabinet. Lin Fan was once again thankful that when there were visitors last night, she saw many shoes at the door and was afraid that her white sneakers would be stepped on and dirty by strangers, so she put them in the shoe cabinet. Otherwise, Lin's father and mother would not have mistaken her for going out in the morning because they did not see her shoes. The shoes are naturally big, but fortunately, there are shoelaces. Lin Fan wrapped them around her ankles a few more times and tied them tightly. After opening the door and making sure that there was no one in the corridor, she quickly got out. Even though Lin Fan has a developed physical fitness, this small body has brought her a lot of trouble. Because the clothes are too big, the shoes don't fit, and she has to carry a bag. In addition, the size of the surrounding objects has become larger. Lin Fan is now like a child wearing her mother's clothes. Not to mention that it is difficult to walk. Her mobility is not much different from that of an ordinary child. She can't even run, and it's hard to walk. Fortunately, she didn't bump into anyone when she walked out of the corridor. Lin Fan breathed a sigh of relief and walked towards the entrance of the community step by step with her bag. The most urgent thing now is to get out of the community first, and don't let Lin's father and mother bump into her. Although she didn't have a chance to look in the mirror, she didn't dare to bet whether her parents would recognize her now. Maybe it was because of the new year, or maybe it was because it was cold. There were not many people in the community. Occasionally, a few children were playing with fireworks, and they didn't care about Lin Fan. Lin Fan was so tired from walking. He finally turned another corner to reach the gate of the community, but Lin's father's car appeared at this corner. Lin Fan was startled and turned her back quickly, pretending to be a child playing on the roadside. Although she turned her back immediately, Lin's mother, who was facing her from the front, still saw her face. She always felt that the child seemed to have seen it somewhere and couldn't help but look at the little figure curled up in a ball a few more times. "What are you looking at?" Lin's father asked when he saw Lin's mother's head was about to turn to the back. "Oh," I said, "that child looks like Xiaofan when he was a child." Lin's mother slapped her thigh and suddenly thought of it. Then he sighed with regret. If my Xiaofan had gotten married a few years earlier, the child would have grown this big. He's so cute. I wonder whose child he is? Thinking about it again, there were no children this big among the people he knew, so he didn't think about it anymore. Compared with this child, she had another child at home who gave her a headache. Seeing Lin's father's car going away, Lin Fan got up and continued walking. She was short and easily avoided the closed security booth. She didn't feel relieved until she walked a distance away. After finally walking to the bus stop next to the community, Lin Fan climbed onto the stainless steel bench and sat down to rest. Lin's mother called. Lin Fan didn't answer. Her voice had changed now, becoming babyish, and she would be exposed as soon as she opened her mouth. After several calls failed to get through, Lin's mother started to send her voice messages, and her tone became more and more urgent. She asked her why her luggage was gone, and why she didn't say anything. She was about to scold. Lin Fan replied with 5 words, "I know everything," and the other side stopped. As for what would happen next, how Lin's mother would explain to Aunt Wang, she no longer cared. At this time, the rabbit fur pajamas were already wet with sweat. She felt cold and hot, and was extremely uncomfortable. Lin Fan wrapped the leaky clothes tightly again, and then wrapped the 2 long ears around her neck as a scarf to fix the overly wide rabbit head hat. She wanted to take a car back to the special office by herself, but the bus and taxi would not let her get on. On second thought, whether taking the high-speed rail or the bus, an ID card is required. Okay, I still have to call someone. Only then did Lin Fan deeply realize the inconvenience of being a child. He took out his mobile phone angrily and dialed for help. "John Woo, help. John Woo, come quickly. The child is freezing outside alone. Give me some tickets to keep the child warm. Moore." If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 264, John Woo's Concerns. Wu Yusen had a good year. Maybe it was because of Lin Fan's return. He was in a particularly good mood and felt happy about everything he saw. Even the urging of marriage by the gossips and grandmas was not as annoying as before. Wu Yusen is already 38 this year, so his family will naturally urge him to get married. But Wu's parents are relatively open-minded. From the way they named him, it can be seen that Kende was one of the people who followed the trend and had open minds. Out of respect for their son, or trust, the two of them regretted that Wu Yusen had not married, but they did not urge him too much. They had seen too many people who urged him to get married and ended up having a mess of life. There were too many to list. In addition, Wu Yusen always acted rich and happy, always smiling, so Wu's father and mother felt that it was not bad to be happy like this. Fate, what is meant to come, will not go away. It is better than forcing it. Compared with the unknown, imaginary happy life, it is more important to live happily in the present. As for the urgings of relatives and neighbors at home, John Woo always responded with a smile on his face, but turned his head and ignored them. What does his life have to do with them? They are really worrying about nothing. But are you saying that John Woo has no feelings and no family? That's not the case. Young John Woo has had relationships before, and there was a time when he longed for his own small family. But for various reasons, several relationships did not last. Later, during a mission, his team member died in the line of duty. Although the Special Affairs Office had a special person to handle this matter, he felt bad and went to attend the funeral of that colleague. When he saw the other party's parents slumped in a chair with heartbroken hearts, the young widow stood by and shed tears silently, and the baby in her arms seemed to know that her father had left and cried loudly. At that moment, he suddenly had the idea of not getting married. Of course, the treatment at the Special Affairs Office is good and the pension is high, but no matter how good the financial compensation is, it cannot make up for the vacancy of leaving. His wife and children were destined to endure all kinds of accidents and shocks brought by life with their weak and tender bodies in this world. And the barrier that protected them from wind and rain disappeared forever. If parents can't help losing their children, can wives lose their husbands and children lose their fathers? If they don't have it from the beginning, will there be no pain of loss? In the first 2 years, after entering the Special Affairs Office, he didn't understand why many colleagues chose to be alone, and some even played around in the world and flirted with love. but didn't get married and have children. Obviously, they have excellent moral character in all aspects, but they have to leave such a moral flaw. But everyone seems to be accustomed to it. It wasn't until he had a similar thought that he finally understood. As long as he didn't get married, there would never be a scene where his wife and children stood and cried at his funeral. Although getting married and having children can be a continuation of life, the person Wu Yusen would marry must be the one he loves. He didn't want and couldn't bear to let his lover endure the pain of life and death, and he didn't want his children to grow up in an environment without a father. So, I can only feel sorry for my parents. Wu Yusen knew that he was trapped in a morbid mindset, but this morbid thinking became more and more solid as the number of casualties among his colleagues increased. The casualty rate of the Special Affairs Office was too high. It was said that only 2 of the same batch of officers as ZHU Kunjin were still alive and well in the Special Affairs Office. When he occasionally saw the happy scenes of other families of 3, his heart would soften, and once a glimmer of hope emerged, the crying faces of those widows would immediately appear in his mind. Therefore, Wu Yusen could only be cruel and choose to disappoint his parents. Fortunately, Wu's father and mother were open-minded and did not care about this matter as much as other families, who were worried about it every day and affected their normal lives. In their words, children and grandchildren have their own blessings. Just live your life well and understand it. How can everything go as you wish? Wu Yusen saw that his parents were not too anxious about this matter, so he was relieved and became more determined in his thoughts. Moreover, on the other hand, he felt that women, as a creature, were also quite incomprehensible. He was a nice guy before they started dating, but once they established a relationship, he became a completely different person. Not only did his IQ and EQ drop, but he also became clingy and hard to understand. He got angry all the time, and he didn't say it clearly, but he had to make him guess. How could he guess? He was dumped not long after, because he didn't understand her. John Woo was puzzled. He didn't understand her, but he could tell her. If he didn't tell her, he expected her to understand everything. He wasn't a worm in his stomach. Later, he had 2 more girlfriends, but they were all similar. In addition, he didn't have much time to accompany them, so they ended up breaking up. John Woo was confused and impatient to serve them. If he had that much time, he could have given his family a full car maintenance. So even if a girl took the initiative to show her affection later, John Woo would never develop further and just maintain an ordinary relationship. Women are really hard to understand. Anyway, all the reasons mentioned above have led to John Woo being happily single today. On the morning of the 3rd day of the Chinese New Year, this happy bachelor received a call from Zuping. Oh, congratulations, you're so busy at the beginning of the new year, you're going to make a fortune this year. Wu Yusen knew that Zuping was still in Sichuan province and had never returned to the Special Affairs Office. Same fortune, ha ha ha. It was not the first time that Zuping worked overtime during the new year, and he chatted with Wu Yusen as usual. I heard that you asked Lin Fan to leave. You finally got what you wanted, right? TOEFL, ha ha ha. Wu Yusen couldn't help laughing for a while before speaking. Did something happen to you? People like them rarely make a special call to wish their colleagues a happy new year. If they call, it means there is something wrong, and if there is no news, it means everything is fine. But Zuping's voice sounded relaxed, so it was probably not an emergency. Wu Yusen thought. What can I expect to encounter here? Zuping put his legs on the table. It's just an underground palace. The structure is a bit complicated. It's not a big deal for me. Oh, I heard that. It will take a long time. Wu Yusen smiled. I thought you wanted to ask me for help. That's not the case. Zuping lazily slumped in the chair. There is a piece of news that I think I should let you know. What? Wu Yusen walked to the corner of the balcony and asked his parents who were busy in the kitchen. Didn't Lin Fan catch something down there before? It was green. Zuping said. Is there something wrong with that thing? Wu Yusen frowned slightly. After coming back, he didn't find anything abnormal with Lin Fan. You can't say there is a problem, right? Zuping scratched his head with one hand. It was so itchy. He hadn't taken a shower for a few days. That thing itself has no toxic side effects, otherwise I would have notified you long ago. The waterproof bag was brought up from down there by Zooping himself. After coming up, he immediately sent the things to the Special Affairs office. When Lin Fan and the others were still flying in the sky, the things had already arrived at the equipment department of the Special Affairs office. A series of basic tests were all fine, but they didn't find out what it was for, so they put it in the display room and planned to wait until after the new year. What are you going to say now? Knowing that there was no danger, Wu Yusen's brows relaxed. It was Kuan Yin Dang. He called me and said that his ancestor had come here and recognized this thing. I thought I should tell you. Zooping also suddenly received a call from someone else. Thinking that Lin Fan had contacted it, he should tell him. But he didn't have Lin Fan's contact information, so he could only call Wu Yusen. Master Kaiansu? Wu Yusen narrowed his eyes slightly. He hadn't seen this person for a long time, and he suddenly came back at this time. Yes, that one. Zooping replied. Kuan Yin Dang said that Master Kaiansu passed by the display room after returning and found Yanjing. I was the person in charge, so he told me. What is that? Wu Yusen didn't remember this name. Have you heard of the elixir of immortality? Oh, Wu Yusen is on stage. Does anyone still remember Zooping, who was working hard in the cave during the new year? Yesterday the ranking was 414 again. Obviously there were more recommendations and comments in the past 2 days. Why did the ranking drop even more? I guess there is no chance of getting bonus this month. Well, this month's profit should be enough to pay for water and electricity. Haha. But you still need to vote, just in case I reverse the situation. Haha. By the way, where did you see my book? Except for the limited free time, when it was prominently placed, I can't find my book myself. Where did you find it? Vote, interact, don't be shy. Come on. Chapter 265 Elixir of Life. HMM. Is it what I was thinking? The Elixir of Life. John Woo immediately thought of the legend that Qin Shi Huang sent Zhu Fu out to sea to seek the elixir. It was the elixir of life that Qin Shi Huang sent out to sea to find. Haha, I didn't expect it to be here. Zooping laughed and shook his legs. However, Master Kaiansu said that longevity and immortality are two separate things. The elixir of life is called Hangju, and the elixir of immortality is this Yanjing. I'm still looking for it and see if I can collect this set this time. I don't mean to doubt Master Kaiansu, but if I remember correctly, that thing is as big as a fist, right? How do you eat it? Although John Woo had never seen the real thing, he still took a look at it in the video. Such a big thing, not to mention whether it would get stuck in the throat. You can't even put it in your mouth, right? Haha, you don't know this, right? Zooping proudly showed off the knowledge he had just heard from Kuan Yin Dang. This thing is not edible, it's just a decoration. Just touch it, and you will become younger. Wu Yusen suddenly remembered that Lin Fan caught Yanjing with his bare hands and held her for a while. But Lin Fan didn't change. I also asked Kuan Yin Dang about this. He said that it might be that Lin Fan's body structure is different from ours. Zooping touched his nose. Lin Fan's transformation into a Mecha is still somewhat special. No one in the Special Affairs office is like her, and they don't even have anything in common, so they can only treat her as a special case. Are you sure? Wu Yusen suddenly became a little worried. Yes, his 1000-year-old lord said it himself. It can't be wrong. She is so old, and the salt she eats can drown our special service department. Zooping nodded firmly. And someone from their equipment group tried it yesterday out of curiosity. In less than 2 hours, he looked 10 years younger. Wow, this quick acting beauty method makes me want to try it. But they also said that the only function of this thing is to make you younger. But there is also a time limit. If you don't touch it again after a period of time, it will return to its original state. Apart from this, there will be no other serious consequences. I know that Lin Fan has been fine since she went back, but thinking that she has touched it after all, I should at least tell you. The guide. Zooping thought about it, and no one knew about Lin Fan's situation. Whether it was just in case or not, it was always good to say a little more. Okay, I know. I'll ask her later to see if there is anything wrong. Wu Yusen took his kindness and politely hung up the phone. Before he could find Lin Fan's contact information, she called. As soon as Wu Yusen answered the phone, the voice of a little girl with a baby voice came over. John Woo, help. Lin Fan. John Woo took the phone away and looked at it carefully. It was Lin Fan's number. Why was it a child talking? John Woo, I suddenly became smaller. Lin Fan almost cried when he heard the familiar voice. I don't have clothes that fit me, I can't walk far, I can't take a car, and it's cold. John Woo suddenly remembered what Zhu Ping said on the phone just now, that touching Yanjing would make him younger. They originally said that Lin Fan would not be affected by the effect, but now it seems that there is a problem with time. It seems that Yanjing did not have an effect on Lin Fan, but because of the special reasons of Xingqian, the effect time was delayed by several days. Maybe it is competing with Lin Fan's body cells for the initiative? Then he thought of a team member who touched Yanjing and immediately became a dozen years younger. Then Lin Fan was originally in the cell state of about 20 years old, so doesn't he only have a few years now? Don't worry, I'll come. You can tell me slowly. Thinking of Lin Fan, who was only a few years old, staying alone in the snow and ice, and having no home to return to, Wu Yusen hurriedly took his coat and handbag, and was about to go out. Hey, what's wrong? Wu's father had never seen his son so anxious. My friend is in trouble, I'm going out for a while, don't wait for me, eat first. Wu Yusen didn't have time to say more, and pushed the door and rushed out. What's wrong? Why did Yusen go out? Wu's mother also ran out from the kitchen. It's okay. He said that his friend was in trouble and he went to help him. Wu's father comforted Wu's mother. It's okay, go cook first, and when he is done, he will come back to eat. Wu's mother obediently returned to the kitchen to prepare the meal, and Wu's father went to the balcony. Looking at the garage entrance not far away, Wu Yusen's domineeringness rushed out at an unprecedented speed. This must be something urgent. Wu's father muttered to himself, and didn't think too much, and turned back to help Wu's mother prepare the meal. Wu Yusen had already heard Lin Fan explain what happened along the way, and after getting in the car, he told Lin Fan about Yanjing's effect. He stepped on the accelerator and rushed out, driving at the red line of the speed limit. It takes nearly 5 hours to drive from his home to Gaocheng Lin Fan's home. Even if he hurried, it would take nearly 4 hours. But driving is already the fastest way. So, this is not the result of 818 evolution? Lin Fan asked blankly. Her mind was already confused just now. She became a dozen years younger this time. If it happened again, she would not have the age to reduce. I thought I would turn into a cell. Lin Fan pouted depressedly. I don't know if it's because of her smaller body, but some of her behaviors now are not what she would do before. Wu Yusen was driving the car. After hearing what she said, he almost turned the steering wheel crookedly and cleared his throat. That's not the case. Turn into a cell. Lin Fan thought of it. Now it is most likely caused by Yanjing. But don't worry, it will recover after a while. Wu Yusen comforted. 818 has been absorbed for several months. Cell activation has always been a gradual process. It is impossible for it to change so drastically suddenly. It does not conform to the law. Then should I verify it with the people from 800? Lin Fan asked pitifully. She still has the 623 group on her phone, so it is very convenient to say it. No. Wu Yusen hurriedly stopped him. Are you kidding? Lin Fan has just been back for a week. Don't let 800 take him away again. The big boss is about to meet him, and ZHU Kunjin will chop him with a knife when the time comes. All the research data over there have been handed over to the medical team of our institute. Now the data in the institute and over there are synchronized, and there is not much difference in the detection technology. There is no need to ask them for help. Wu Yusen explained and complained. Besides, they have been researching for so long, but they haven't found anything. I will call Quan Yingdong later to ask if there is anything I should pay attention to in your situation. This is the truth. Lin Fan has been at 800 for so long, and apart from making simulated armor based on the stars, they have not made any progress in their research on Lin Fan himself. Although in the last few months, due to the evolution of the stars, Lin Fan cells were detected to be activated, but that level is not bad. I thought they were so powerful. TSK. Wu Yusen sneered in his heart. It's a waste to send Lin Fan out for so long. Yo, Wu Yusen went 1,000 miles to pick up Lin Fan. It's a pity that this is not a romance novel. Hahaha. Has everyone gone to work? I haven't had a break since the Chinese New Year, and it feels like a holiday. I looked at it this morning, and it was 700,000 words. My god, I'm so awesome. When I signed the contract, how many words were required to complete the book? I wrote 300,000 words, and I thought it was a lot at the time. I wondered if I could finish it in a blink of an eye. Haha, I'm only 300,000 away from breaking 100. Now the daily booking is over 100, although it's not much, but compared to the daily booking of 4 last month, I'm already very satisfied. I've persisted in writing for 5 months, and I'd give myself a thumbs up for my hard work. Keep it up, my dears. Remember to vote moi. Chapter 266 Human Trafficker. Oh, alright. Lin Fan, who was at a loss, still trusted Wu Yusen. She listened to whatever he said. Don't worry, I'll be there soon. Find a warm place to stay first, send me the location, and I'll be there in more than 3 hours. Don't be afraid. Wu Yusen continued to comfort her. Lin Fan looked at the whole row of shops with locked doors behind her, none of which were open. She had no choice but to continue sitting on the bus seat and talking to Wu Yusen. With Wu Yusen accompanying her for a while, Lin Fan felt more at ease. Although she was still a little cold, there was nothing she could do about it. Oh, my phone is running out of power. Lin Fan heard the alarm sound on her phone and saw that it was only 5% left. I won't tell you anymore. I have to save some power for you to get here. Her phone was a small brand, and she had used it for several years. Although it was fully charged when she went out in the morning, it was normal for the battery to run out after making a phone call for nearly an hour. Okay, then you hang up first. I'm just here to ask Kuan Yin Dong about this. I'll call you when I'm almost there. Be careful, okay? Wu Yusen warned. He had already entered the highway, stepped on the accelerator to the maximum, and kept overtaking. Got it. Lin Fan replied softly. I'm not a real child. Why should I be afraid of human traffickers? Don't worry, I'm also very capable. Wu Yusen was really worried, but there was nothing he could do. If Lin Fan's mobile phone ran out of power, it would be even more troublesome if he couldn't find anyone at that time. Reluctantly hanging up the phone, Lin Fan stuffed the phone into her bag. With such a small amount of power, you can't play games, you have to use it sparingly. She put her hands in her sleeves, sat obediently on the stainless steel bench, and turned to look at the shops behind. It was already past 10 o'clock, and it would be good if any store behind was open, so that she could go in and hide. As the sun rose higher, more and more people were on the road. Many people would cast a curious look at Lin Fan, a little kid sitting alone on a bus bench. Some kind-hearted people even came up to ask him a question, but Lin Fan brushed them off by saying that he was waiting for his family. It was already past 11 o'clock in the morning, and everyone was in a hurry to go home for dinner. Gao Cheng's public security was pretty good, and in broad daylight, no one thought too much and left quickly. Little friend, why are you here alone? Where are your family members? Lin Fan turned around and saw a middle-aged woman smiling at her with wrinkles on her face. Little friend, why did you run out wearing your mother's clothes? Do you want your aunt to take you to find your mother? Who is this? Lin Fan frowned. Although this person smiled strangely and didn't look like a good person at first glance, she decided not to judge people by appearance and replied coldly. No, I'm waiting for my family here. But she was a child now, and no matter how cold her voice was, it sounded soft and sticky to others. When the middle-aged woman heard this, she smiled even more deeply, walked around to the front of Lin Fan and squatted down, and continued with what she thought was a kind smile. Little boy, I see you have been sitting here for a long time. Your family hasn't arrived yet? Where are your parents? My parents are in the community behind. Lin Fan complained in his heart, and didn't want to pay attention to her. The middle-aged woman was not angry, and stretched out her hand to pull Lin Fan. How could Lin Fan let her pull him? He turned around and jumped off the bench, picked up his luggage bag, and walked a little further away. Little boy, auntie is not a bad person. Auntie just saw that you stayed outside for such a long time and it was very cold, so I wanted to take you to warm up. The middle-aged woman even took out a lollipop. Here, I'll give you some candy. It's imported and very delicious. Lin Fan looked at the woman in front of him with strange eyes. She had heard about human traffickers using candy to trick children since she was a child, but she didn't expect to encounter it again at the age of 37. Oh, right. She is also a child now. Lin Fan sighed secretly and took 2 steps to the side, preparing to hide behind the bus stop. The middle-aged woman's face was stiff from laughing. The little girl in front of her didn't talk to her, nor did she take the candy. There was a flash of impatience in her eyes. She should have stopped her business during the new year, but this little girl was too eye-catching. Not only was she fair and beautiful, but she was so small and alone, sitting here for such a long time. She had been watching here for more than an hour, and this child must have sat there for even longer. Several groups of people came up to her, but in the end, no one took her away. Maybe she was abandoned by her family, right? The middle-aged woman thought to herself. Why not bite the cheap meat that was delivered to her mouth? It would be a waste if she didn't bite it. If someone gets involved, she can find an excuse to get away. Unexpectedly, this child was so stubborn that she couldn't even be attracted by candy. Her imported lollipop was wasted. It was precious. She put the candy back into her pocket, looked around, and saw that no one was paying attention to this place, so she was going to grab people directly. Lin Fan saw that it was not good and ran quickly, but she forgot that she had become smaller, with short legs and feet, and her clothes and shoes did not fit her, so she could not run fast at all. In a few seconds, she was hugged by the bad woman. Lin Fan turned around and hit her face with her bag and kicked her stomach hard, causing the woman to let go of her hand in pain. She also fell heavily to the ground. Ignoring the pain, she quickly rolled a few times and moved away from the bad woman. She didn't even bother to pick up the bag. She got up and ran. How unlucky. How could she really meet a human trafficker? Whose bad words did she spread? The woman recovered and rushed up again with a ferocious look in her eyes. Lin Fan didn't care much at this time and ran to the gate of the community. At least there were security guards there. Unfortunately, he didn't run far before he was caught up again. The woman grabbed Lin Fan by the collar. When she tried to slip out of the large down jacket, she grabbed her arm again and lifted her up. Lin Fan kicked her legs wildly. She had learned so many fighting skills, but she couldn't touch the opponent. Song Ren would be so angry if he knew about this, right? This thought suddenly popped up in Lin Fan's anxious head. Little bastard, let's see how you can run. The woman scolded viciously. You are the bastard, and your whole family is bastards. Lin Fan didn't waste his energy shouting to let her go, and just scolded her directly. Oh, this little mouth is quite powerful. The woman laughed angrily. Wait until you come back with me. Before she finished speaking, she heard Lin Fan screaming, help. The human traffickers are catching children. Children usually make very sharp and piercing screams. Lin Fan used to think that the noise made her ears tinnitus, but she didn't expect that it would be used now. Shut up. If you scream again, I will slap you. The woman slammed Lin Fan to the ground, and the hand that was originally holding the collar was raised high. Lin Fan ignored her and continued to scream. At this moment, the eyes of many people in the distance have been attracted. The woman was about to cover Lin Fan's mouth, but she turned around to avoid it and kicked her calf twice. She screamed and struggled hard. The woman grimaced in pain and raised her hands high again. This time she was really going to hit him. Stop, a young female voice shouted. Lin Fan looked up and saw a beautiful young lady, followed by a young man. A few steps behind was the community security guard wearing a security hat. Before he could smile, a dark shadow attacked from behind. Lin Fan subconsciously dodged, and with a snap, a loud slap hit the back of her face. Lin Fan felt his ears buzzing, and his head was dizzy. He was about to fall, but the young lady rushed over and hugged him. Didn't you hear me telling you to stop? The young lady roared to protect the dizzy Lin Fan and slapped the other person's arm that was holding Lin Fan with her hand. Get out of my way. There is a natural gap between the strength of children and adults. The smaller Lin Fan is, the smaller he is. He can't even walk smoothly, so it's impossible for him to suddenly become powerful. Poor little Lin Fan has suffered so much. I give a thumbs up to the brave young lady. Please vote and interact. The more the better. Thank you everyone. Chapter 267 Catch Her. Hey, beauty, what are you doing? How can you take my child away? The woman's face suddenly changed, from ferocious to aggrieved. But the hand holding Lin Fan's arm tightened, and she refused to let go. Damn it. This damn girl, she was too cruel. The woman cursed in her heart, but she pretended to be innocent on her face, and pulled Lin Fan to her side. Your child? How dare you hit your child like this? Do you think I'm stupid? The young girl's voice was crisp. Are you going to let go? Are you going to let go? The child said you are a human trafficker. I called the police. Oh, beauty, you misunderstood. When the woman heard that she was going to call the police, she hesitated for a moment, and her hand loosened, and Lin Fan was snatched away by the girl. Looking around, she saw that there were only 3 people in front of her. A young girl, a thin young man, and an old security guard. The woman rolled her eyes, and wanted to hold on a little longer. I'm not a human trafficker. This is my child. She's having a conflict with me. She stopped reaching out to Lin Fan and explained sincerely, I was just anxious and hit her a few times. I didn't expect it to be like this. It's a misunderstanding. Haha. The young man looked at the woman in a leather jacket, high heels, and a small branded bag. She didn't look like she had no money. From her face, she looked like an honest person. She smiled carefully at them, and was a little hesitant. He walked to the young woman and whispered, Zio minimum. Could we have made a mistake? There's a chance. A hint of excitement flashed in the woman's eyes, but on the surface she still looked honest and pitiful. Your child? Zio minimum hugged Lin Fan, and stood up when she saw that she didn't cry. This child is only about 2 or 3 years old. Can you give birth to a child this big? The young man reacted after hearing this. Yes, although the woman was wearing makeup, you can still tell her age if you look closely. Even if she is less than 50, she must be in her 40s. In theory, at this age, it is possible to have a child this big, but it is too small. Besides, don't you look in the mirror when you go out? If you want to have such a beautiful child, your husband must be extremely handsome, right? Zio minimum's mouth was merciless, and continued to spit. Lin Fan felt less dizzy at this time, and raised his head from Zio minimum's arms. The young man and the security guard took a look. Isn't it? The little girl was pink and tender, with a pair of eyes that seemed to have cried. I don't know, but they were so watery that people couldn't help but feel soft in their hearts. Look at the woman opposite, that face. Except for the black, tattooed eyebrows and the deliberately painted big red lips, it was so ordinary that there was no feature. Even if you don't consider the age issue, if you want to have such a beautiful girl, you really need a husband who is extremely handsome. But would such a handsome husband have a child with such an ordinary looking old woman? Looking at the way she beat the child on the street, it doesn't seem like she has any high quality inner beauty. Not to mention that she is dressed like this. She is definitely not a rich woman with a lot of money. In short, every aspect is full of doubts. She's a human trafficker. Lin Fan spoke softly at this time and hit the woman again. Don't listen to the kid's nonsense. I'm not a human trafficker. The woman pretended to be calm and took a step back. Don't get me wrong. This child is not mine. I'm just a nanny. The child didn't listen to me. I was just anxious. She's not. Lin Fan spoke anxiously, which affected the wound on the side of his face, and he covered his face with his little hand in pain. She's a human trafficker. Zio minimum patted Lin Fan's back soothingly and stuffed her into the arms of the young man next to him. You do this and that, and the nanny can beat other people's children? Yes, 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 I'm wrong. The woman wanted to pretend to be polite, but when she saw Zio minimum took out her mobile phone, she was afraid that she was going to call the police, so she turned around and ran away. Zio minimum put her mobile phone in her pocket and chased after him. High heels versus sneakers, middle-aged and elderly versus young people. This is a chase without suspense. Girl, it's a misunderstanding, a misunderstanding. After being caught, the woman kept begging for mercy. Who would have thought that the seemingly little girl could run so fast? Misunderstanding? Why are you running if it's a misunderstanding? Zio minimum grabbed the woman and dragged her back. Call my dad. The young man quickly held Lin Fan with one hand and used one hand to take out his cell phone. Lin Fan saw that he dialed Uncle Kyan's number and the other party answered it within 2 rings. Hello, Zio Huang, what's the matter? Did you leave your things at home? A bold voice came and Zhang Fen's face immediately appeared in Lin Fan's mind. No, Uncle Kyan. Zio Huang's arms were probably a little sore and he pushed Lin Fan up a bit before continuing. Zio minimum asked me to call you. It seems that a human trafficker was caught. He is just outside the gate of the community, next to the bus stop. Uncle Kyan's voice immediately became serious. I'm coming. Tell Zio minimum to be careful. Put me down. Lin Fan patted Zio Huang. It was not easy for this guy with thin arms and legs. Zio Huang watched his girlfriend approaching the traffickers and hesitated for a moment. He still didn't let Lin Fan go, but changed his arm and held Lin Fan tighter. Girl, do you want to call 110 again? The security guard asked, seeing that the matter seemed to have come to a conclusion. No, my dad is a policeman. He will notify them. Zio minimum, that is, Kyan minimum, smiled and replied, thank you, uncle. You can go back to your work first. The uncle said he was a security guard, but he was actually just a security guard. He couldn't arrest anyone or hold the child if he stayed here, so it was better to let him go back. When the woman heard that the police were coming, she struggled even harder, but Kyan Xiaomin wouldn't let her break free and clamped her hands tightly. A few minutes later, a man in his 40s rushed out of the community. He didn't even have time to zip up his coat and ran over here with an anxious look on his face. Seeing that his daughter and her boyfriend were fine, he was relieved. What's the matter? The uncle ran up and took over from his daughter to hold down the suspect. After Kyan minimum explained the matter in this way, Uncle Kyan also judged that there was a high probability that there was something wrong with this woman. Seeing her move so naturally, it must not be her first time to commit a crime, and who knows how many children have suffered from her vicious hands. Uncle Kyan glared at her with a bad look. The woman had already regretted it. If she had known, she would not have taken this piece of cheap meat. After Kyan minimum's hands were empty, she returned to Zio Huang and wanted to take Lin Fan. Lin Fan shook her head and refused. Although it was very comfortable to hug, she still felt ashamed inside at the age of 37. It didn't matter, because the situation was urgent just now. Now everything is fine. It's better to stand by herself. Miss Kyan minimum didn't force it and let her partner put her on the ground. The 2 young men squatted and carefully helped her to tidy up her messy clothes and hair. Thank you. Lin Fan's thanks came from the heart. If it weren't for them, especially Kyan minimum's appearance, she would have suffered. Oh, what a good child. Kyan minimum saw that Lin Fan was cute and wanted to pinch her face, but when she saw the 3 red finger marks on her face, she withdrew her hand. It's really a crime. How could you be so harsh on such a young child? She glared at the bad woman who was caught by his father. Zio minimum, ask if the child has any other injuries and where his home is. It was inconvenient for Kyan's father to come over because he was holding someone in his hand. Lin Fan had heard it and pointed to the bus stop and replied, I'm fine. I made an appointment to wait here. Several people looked at the child in adult clothes and thought that she might have had a quarrel with her family and ran away secretly. Then they asked if the person she was waiting for had any contact information so that they could help contact him. Lin Fan thought that, since the trouble was solved, she would not tell Wu Yusen. But seeing the worried eyes of Kyan minimum and others, she thought about it and took out her mobile phone from her bag. Wu Yusen answered the call immediately and just said, hello, Lin Fan, I'm almost there, and the phone automatically turned off. Oh, it's better not to call. Lin Fan looked at the black screen of the phone and thought about buying a new phone. The kind with a super long standby time. The little sister is awesome. Cheer for her. Monthly tickets, recommendation tickets, and comments. Let's go with a 3-piece set. I exercised this morning. After a month, apart from talking, gasping, coughing, and phlegm in my throat, I feel like everything else is almost the same. My body is already rusty, and my joints kept creaking during the 20-minute stretch. It's hard to adapt to the exercises I'm used to doing all of a sudden. I'm so sore. At this time last month, I just got out of bed, thinking that this is not bad. This yang really drained my already weak body. In addition, I've been busy painting and typing, and I haven't had a good rest. Next, I will continue to exercise, hoping to recover some of my physical fitness. Everyone should also strengthen their physical fitness. The body is the capital of revolution. Chapter 268. John Woo is here. Wu Yusen saw Lin Fan suddenly call him, and he knew something must have happened. But the call was disconnected, and when he called again, the phone was turned off. His already anxious mood was fueled. He called back to the Special Affairs office and asked someone to circumvent the traffic control department so that he could pass the green light all the way, and he stepped on the accelerator and rushed forward. Lin Fan couldn't understand Wu Yusen's mood, and she was trying her best to deal with people. A few minutes ago, the police car arrived with a whoosh whoosh sound, and several policemen got off and took the bad woman away. Before the woman was stuffed into the car, she glared at Lin Fan unwillingly. If it wasn't for this girl, how could she be here? Exclamation mark. Lin Fan saw it and shouted, "Wait a minute." Everyone didn't know what she was going to do, and watched her thump run to the side of the car, climb onto the back seat with her hands and feet, and stand on the seat to slap the suspect. Although Lin Fan's strength has decreased, it is still greater than that of an ordinary child. She slapped the woman's face with all her strength, and she also fell backwards, because she couldn't stand steadily. Fortunately, the police outside caught it, otherwise she would definitely fall again. "Thank you." She looked up politely, and thanked the police above. "Good guy, you." The police wanted to say that she was so vindictive at such a young age, but he thought it was not appropriate. The little kid was bullied for no reason, and her little face was still swollen. What's wrong with a slap? Considering the crime committed by the woman, who knows how many families she has destroyed, a slap is considered light. Besides, how strong can a 3-year-old child be? The woman also turned her head away, acting so excited, trying to act. Humph, they have seen a lot of suspects like this. Thinking of this, his mind suddenly became clear, and he smiled, and said to Lin Fan, "You're welcome." After saying that, he got in the car and yelled at the woman, "Be honest." He turned around and closed the car door, smiled at Lin Fan standing on the roadside, and left with the car. In another police car, a young lady in uniform wanted to take Lin Fan away, but she refused. She ran back to pick up her luggage bag and sat back on the bus. "If I leave, he won't be able to find me." The child was holding a luggage bag that was almost as tall as her and insisted on waiting for someone in a baby voice, which made everyone melt. "But we can't let her wait alone like this." The person the child was waiting for had just said that he would be here soon, but no one knew how long it would take. Kyan Minimum contributed all her power banks, but Lin Fan's phone just couldn't be charged or turned on. I don't know if it was because of the cold weather, or because the phone had reached the end of its life, or because it was broken in the fight just now. Lin Fan couldn't tell Wu Yusen's phone number. The child had just been frightened, and it was not suitable to be taken to a strange place by force. In addition, the contact person just said that he would be here soon. Considering the actual situation, everyone decided to let Captain Kyan, who was on vacation, his daughter who was attending the police academy, and his future son-in-law accompany the child to wait. When the people arrived, they were asked to go to the police station to make statements. The vacant police car drove directly to handle other police cases. Everyone was satisfied with this arrangement, only Lin Fan felt bad. It was so cold, and it was too embarrassing to ask people to wait with him. Especially when he later learned that the young couple had to catch a movie at 1 p.m. and went out right after lunch. He felt even worse. But to be honest, with the company of these people, Lin Fan finally felt a lot more at ease. She was still scared of the human trafficker incident just now. If Miss Kyan Minimum hadn't appeared, John Woo would definitely be able to find her, but she would have suffered a lot. As soon as she relaxed, Lin Fan felt sleepy. Today was actually a thrilling day, and her little body had been holding on. But after all this, Her physical strength was exhausted, and being held in the arms of Miss Khan Minimum, she felt soft and warm and very comfortable. There was also a reassuring police uncle next to her. Lin Fan gradually closed his eyes. Half an hour later, when Wu Yusen rushed to the location, he didn't see Lin Fan on the platform. There was only a young man sitting there. His heart was lifted up immediately, and he jumped off the car and looked around. "Excuse me, are you Wu Yusen?" When Xiao Huang saw such a big car rushing over, he was still studying what kind of car it was. When it stopped in front of the platform and the people on it looked around for someone, Xiao Huang knew that the person he was waiting for had probably arrived. "I am. You are." Wu Yusen immediately stared at the other person. Xiao Huang was frightened by his burning eyes at first, but then he thought about it. It was normal to be anxious, because the child was lost. "Your child has been waiting for you here, but she fell asleep. We are afraid that she will catch a cold. There happened to be a store open behind, so we took her in to warm her up. I'm waiting for you here specially." Thank you. Thank you." Wu Yusen hurriedly thanked him. He followed Xiao Huang into a store behind the platform. As soon as he entered the door, he saw a young girl sitting with a down jacket in her arms. The pink furry rabbit hat hanging on the back of the down jacket was what they had just bought with Lin Fan a few days ago. When Khan Minimum saw Xiao Huang bringing in a strange man and looking straight into her arms, she knew that it was the person the child was waiting for. Little friend, the person you are waiting for is here. Wake up and see if it is him." She gently woke up the sleeping child. Lin Fan opened his eyes in a daze, and before he could react where he was, he saw John Woo's face approaching. He didn't wear glasses today, nor did he smile. He had a nervous expression on his face, which Lin Fan had never seen before. When Lin Fan saw him, she couldn't help but feel aggrieved. Her lower lip pouted, and her nose began to feel sore. She was a female man who could punch 3 people with 1 punch yesterday, but after waking up from a sleep, she became a child who could do nothing. First, she was terrified that her family would find out. Then, she stood alone in the cold wind at the station for several hours, freezing to death. She was also unlucky enough to meet a human trafficker. In the end, she couldn't even beat a woman, but was beaten instead. All the fear and grievances in her heart surged up at this moment, and her eyes began to blur. "No, no, no," she screamed in her heart. She was already 37 years old. She couldn't cry in front of so many people. Wu Yusen knew that Lin Fan had become smaller, but she never thought that she was only 2 or 3 years old. Because Lin Fan had no idea of the size of a child. She had no idea how old she was now, so she couldn't tell Wu Yusen. Wu Yusen saw little Lin Fan sticking her head out from a pile of clothes and almost didn't dare to recognize her. If it weren't for the familiar rabbit-shaped hat behind her, he really couldn't believe it. The cute child in front of him was Lin Fan. Lin Fan's personality has always been a little indifferent. Although it's better after getting familiar with her, she is also the kind of person who doesn't say much if she can, and even tells a cold joke. Now she suddenly became so cute and pouted her lips as if she was about to cry. Wu Yusen's heart was about to melt. He stretched out his hands and wanted to take her over. You can't always sit on someone else's lap. Isn't it said that babies are the cutest? Especially those who are just 2 or 3 years old, can talk, walk, and smile at you. With round eyes and pink lips, any expression will make people smile knowingly. Wu Yusen suddenly understood why fathers are so partial to their daughters. Who can not love such a cute daughter? Lin Fan kept reminding herself that she was already in her 30s, but when she saw Wu Yusen opening his arms to take her, tears still rolled down her face, and she threw herself over with open arms and clung to his shoulders tightly. When Wu Yusen held her in his arms and saw the red marks on her face, his smiling face suddenly sank. What's going on? That kind of little child is really cute. I will giggle when I see that kind of video. Haha, like a weird old aunt. The furry rabbit clothes had played the role of keeping warm and mocking, and he bowed and left the stage. Monthly tickets, recommendation tickets, comments, come on, it's the last 2 days. My dears, please support me. Chapter 269 Happy Fatherhood. As soon as these words came out, Lin Fan's heart couldn't help but burst out. She was going to lose her dignity in her later years. Lin Fan was desperate and buried her face in Wu Yusen's shoulder, pretending to be an ostrich. But Wu Yusen had already seen it. It felt like there were 10,000 hands grabbing at her in his heart, and he hurriedly tried to comfort her. "What's wrong? What's wrong? Don't cry, don't cry." Lin Fan was not a crybaby, at least Wu Yusen had never seen Lin Fan cry. He had always valued Lin Fan, and now that Lin Fan was so cute, he was even more powerless to resist. Kian Minimum handed over a tissue, and Wu Yusen took it after thanking her. He wanted to wipe little Lin Fan, but she said she would not look up. She couldn't look up, crying would be too ugly. Everyone else thought she was scared, and they all told her what had happened before. Wu Yusen then realized that Lin Fan had really met a human trafficker. He was also scared. He was definitely not afraid of not being able to find Lin Fan, but was afraid that she would suffer for a long time. Look, in just over 3 hours, she cried like this. If it was longer, who knows what she would be like. Thank you so much. Wu Yusen held Lin Fan and rocked her gently, patting her back constantly. He really treated her like a child. After the few people finished talking about the matter, they all blamed Wu Yusen. How could you leave such a young child alone here for such a long time? Kian Minimum said angrily. How can you be a father? Zio Minimum. Captain Kian stopped his daughter, but also said to Wu Yusen, such a young child, if anything happens, you as parents will regret it too late. You must keep it in front of you. Looking at the nervous look of this man, he didn't look like he didn't care about the child after traveling all the way. In addition, the girl was wearing adult women's clothes. Captain Kian subconsciously thought that something happened in a divorced family. Wu Yusen and Lin Fan were both stunned. Everyone treats him as a father. Wu Yusen glanced at Lin Fan carefully. Although he sometimes feels a little bit like an old father towards Lin Fan, he doesn't really want to be her father. Although Lin Fan is just a little kid now, they are actually only half a year apart in age, so how can he take advantage of her? But this is not the time to explain. Wu Yusen can only smile bitterly and say he knows. Agree. Anyway, he dare not agree. Seeing that Lin Fan successfully met the person, Kian Minimum and her boyfriend were ready to leave. Lin Fan called them. What's wrong, little friend? Kian Minimum was particularly gentle with children. Lin Fan took out a stack of red bills from her small bag and was about to give it to her. This was the money specially exchanged for red envelopes, and she didn't expect it to be used just right. Hey, is this your New Year's money? Sister doesn't want it. You should keep it yourself. Kian Minimum was stunned for a moment and then continued to say with a smile. She could see from the child and his father's clothes that her family was rich, but she didn't expect that he would casually take out thousands of yuan to give her. This is still young, don't know what money is? If the child's father paid, she would definitely say something rude, but such a cute child. Kian Minimum smiled and touched Lin Fan's little head. Sister knows you want to thank me, but you don't have to take this out. But in order to save me, you delayed your own business and wasted the movie ticket. Little Lin Fan's serious expression was very cute in everyone's eyes. If you don't want to accept more gratitude, then at least I have to compensate your losses. It's not right to pay for good things. Kian Minimum and the other two didn't expect that the little child could say such words, and they were all stunned. Yes, you helped so much. I have no way to thank you. Just verbal thanks. I think it's too thin. But I know your work, and I dare not take out these worldly things. But she is right. There is no reason to do good things. Delay your own business, and bear the loss yourself. Wu Yusen also advised. Good intentions should not be exchanged for such a result. Although Kian Minimum didn't get to see the movie with her boyfriend, it was a pleasant surprise to save Lin Fan and catch a suspect. She didn't feel much regret in her heart. As for the movie, there is still a chance to watch it. As for the ticket money, more than 100 yuan, just think of it as a red envelope for the children. Kian Minimum had long forgotten about this matter, but Lin Fan had always remembered it. Seeing that both the big and the small were sincere, she thought about it, looked at her father again, and walked forward to take 2 tickets. Then I will reimburse the money for the movie tickets, and the extra money will be considered as milk tea for your sister, brother, and uncle, okay? Thank you. Kian Minimum shook the money in her hand and smiled at Lin Fan. Lin Fan also knew that this was the limit. One of them is a policeman, and the other is a reserve policeman. Xiao Huang is also a person of good character. No matter what, it is impossible to thank them with money. John Woo also knew this, so he simply didn't mention it. But Lin Fan has always been thinking about the movie that Khan Minimum didn't see, and has long made up his mind to at least give them the money for the tickets. Otherwise, doing good things will also make up for the loss. In the long run, who would be willing to do good things? Lin Fan was very persistent. Unfortunately, the result was as she wished. Okay, since you and your daughter are reunited, we won't bother you anymore. Captain Khan saw that the matter was over and said to Wu Yusen, you have to go to the police station later and let the child make a statement. But not too late, preferably today. The suspect was questioned in the police station and the child's confession was still needed. Although the child was not very old, he could see that the rules were very clear. Okay, I got it, and I will definitely not delay your investigation. Thank you, Captain Khan. Thank you. Wu Yusen thanked them politely again and watched them leave. After everyone had gone far away, he sighed. When he turned around, he happened to stare at Lin Fan. The two looked at each other for a while and couldn't help laughing. The wound on Lin Fan's face was affected again, and he quickly covered his face and began to be expressionless again. Does it hurt? Wu Yusen looked at him carefully, and he wanted to tear the trafficker apart in his heart. How precious do they usually protect Lin Fan? They don't even want her hair to fall. She was beaten in her hometown. It's okay. I've already avenged myself. Lin Fan didn't dare to speak too hard. Wu Yusen looked at Lin Fan's red eyes and secretly decided not to let the person who hurt her have a good life. You know, the last person who hurt Lin Fan is already dead. Carrying the luggage bag, Wu Yusen carried the person all the way to the car. Lin Fan wanted to get off and walk by herself, but when she saw the extremely high running board of the car, she gave up. Anyway, I've already carried her, so don't be hypocritical. And she still hurts a little. Wu Yusen put Lin Fan on the co-pilot and fastened her seatbelt. After returning to the driver's seat, he navigated directly back to Gao. Don't you have to take a statement? Lin Fan asked strangely. Didn't she agree to Captain Khan just now? No, I'll leave it to the police station. Wu Yusen didn't agree to take a statement at all. He couldn't explain his relationship with Lin Fan. After taking the statement, he was trapped in the police station again, and the police station would have to rescue him. It would be better to let the police station take over the matter directly. But if I go back to the special affairs office now, will you have to stay with me all the time? Lin Fan asked again. Yeah, you're so old now. If I'm not with you, anyone can bully you. Wu Yusen looked at the little Lin Fan in the co-pilot seat, and his heart softened again. He couldn't help but smile. But, what about your annual leave? Your parents are still waiting for you at home, right? Lin Fan suddenly shook him over, because Wu Yusen was the closest person to her among the people she knew. Although her family was a mess, Wu Yusen's family was definitely not. The family that raised Wu Yusen must be a very warm and happy family, right? Before the new year, she had delayed Wu Yusen's return home because of her. If she delayed her holiday after the new year again, Lin Fan felt guilty. She thought of the scene of playing at each family's house during the new year last year, and tentatively proposed. Anyway, I'm going back to the special affairs office to find a place to stay, or go to your house. Oh, Dad Wu officially took office. Monthly tickets, recommendation tickets, comments, please come more. Chapter 270 Buying New Clothes. Wu Yusen looked at the co-pilot Lin Fan in surprise. If not, Lin Fan said, and then felt that he was too abrupt. Just as he was about to make amends, he heard Yusen laugh. Of course it's no problem. Wu Yusen knew that Lin Fan went home with a group of people during the Chinese New Year last year. It was said that she was very happy, and it accelerated her psychological recovery process. He was full of envy at the time. Now that such an opportunity is in front of him, of course he can't refuse it. Thinking about Wu Ma casually mentioned in the morning that it would be great if her son could bring a woman home someday. I didn't expect that. Today is not over yet, and I will fulfill her wish. Wu Yusen smiled and looked at Lin Fan again. Although the current size of this woman is different from Wu Ma's standard, she is indeed a real mature woman. I didn't expect that there would be a time when I could bring the opposite sex home openly without any psychological burden. Should I tell the institute about my situation? Lin Fan was relieved to see that he didn't delay Wu Yusen's family reunion. But thinking of his abnormality, he frowned and asked again. It's okay to report later. Wu Yusen's electronic terminal can be connected to the backstage of the Special Affairs office, so it's not troublesome to report. I just called Kuan Yin Dang, and he has helped us to inquire about the situation. He said he will call me back with the results. Let's see what he says first. It is more important to confirm Lin Fan's status. For those written materials, it doesn't matter if they are earlier or later. Then are we still going to go now? Lin Fan asked when he saw that Wu Yusen had no intention of changing the navigation. It doesn't matter where we go from Gaocheng to the highway. Let's get on the highway first, and Kuan Yin Dang's call shouldn't take too long. Wu Yusen had already made a plan in his mind. Tell me in detail what happened to you today. Although I had heard others talk about it before, no one knows it as well as Lin Fan, the person involved. Where do you want to start? Lin Fan's face fell. This is really a bad memory. I'm not afraid, but it's disgusting. If it wasn't broad daylight and a public place, she would have turned into a star and slapped her into the Pacific Ocean. How could she let her bully herself like this? Ah. Lin Fan suddenly sat up. Will the star be affected? In recent months, Lin Fan and the star have merged very well, and the state transition is at will. Except that the standby time is not satisfactory and needs to eat more to replenish. It is simply as good as it can be. But now she has become so small. What about the star that is one with her? Did it become smaller, or can it not be transformed at all? Wu Yusen also thought of this. He glanced at the little Lin Fan who was leaning on the back of the co-pilot chair with his feet unable to hang down, and imagined the shrunken star in his mind. I'm a little looking forward to what will happen. Wu Yusen couldn't control the smile on the corner of his mouth, and quickly turned his head to look out the window. John Woo. Seeing that he didn't respond, Lin Fan waved her hand to pat his arm, but her hand was too short, so she could only wave it in the air. Just inexplicably sad. It's okay. It should be fine. John Woo turned around and saw her waving little hands and frustrated little face and quickly comforted her. It's okay even if you become a little star. Anyway, Yang Jing's effect is time limited and it will be fine after this period of time. In peacetime, when the stars are not needed, it doesn't matter whether she is big or small. If she really becomes small, then she can take the opportunity to study the various data of the little star. Do you want to find a place to try it? Lin Fan was afraid that he couldn't convert directly. Don't worry. Just have fun. Wait a few days before returning to the Special Affairs office and try again. It's not safe outside. Wu Yusen saw her worried face and couldn't help but reach out and touch her head. Besides, with you now, Xingqian's state is actually doomed. These few days won't make a difference, okay? There are skies and surveillance cameras everywhere, and sometimes there are drone enthusiasts taking aerial photos. Who knows what kind of situation you will encounter when you transform outside. Lin Fan thought about the fact that Jingang had caused a lot of trouble because of a photo, so he had to nod in agreement. Wu Yusen was right. There was no point in being anxious. Even if she returned to the Special Affairs office now and found that Xingqian had become smaller or couldn't transform, what would happen? Then she would get a group of people who were originally celebrating the Spring Festival to come around and study her. It wasn't that she wanted to destroy the prestige of her own people, but from the experience of 800, it was highly likely that she would not be able to study anything. In that case, why bother with that? It would make people uncomfortable during the holidays. She would not do anything that would harm others and benefit herself. Lin Fan thought about it for a while and finally nodded to convince herself. No matter how big the matter is, we have to wait until after the new year. When Wu Yusen saw her start to shake her little feet in socks, he knew that she was in a good mood. You can't do this. I have to buy you a set of clothes first. There happened to be a brand children's clothing store open not far ahead. He turned the steering wheel and parked the car. Lin Fan looked at the colorful children's clothing store, feeling unwilling. but she also knew that she needed clothes that fit her, otherwise, even normal activities would be restricted. Wu Yusen didn't think much about it. He took her out of the passenger seat and went straight into the children's clothing store. "Welcome." The clerk greeted the guests warmly when he saw them coming in. Lin Fan lay on Wu Yusen's shoulder and pretended to be dead, not wanting to participate in the process of choosing children's clothes for herself. Wu Yusen saw her like this, probably guessed her thoughts, and asked the waiter to pick a set for her according to her body shape. Fortunately, it was a brand store with a rich variety of categories, including clothes, shoes, and socks, and even hats and gloves. After buying everything from inside to outside, Wu Yusen sent Lin Fan to the back seat and handed the bag in his hand. "Here, the clothes are for you. Can you change them yourself?" After all, Lin Fan is an adult woman. Even if her body has become smaller, it is impossible for him to help her change clothes. At this time, she didn't pretend to be dead and nodded like pounding garlic. "Okay, you can change in the back." Wu Yusen smiled. The window glass is covered with film, so it can't be seen from outside. "I'll buy you some food." After saying that, he locked the car door and walked quickly to the fast food restaurant in front. Lin Fan was touched to see that he was still thinking about her not having food. After watching him walk away, she opened the shopping bag next to her and saw a lot of bright red. Who can tell her what's going on? Lin Fan frowned and took out the clothes one by one. Bright red Chinese cotton coat and cotton pants, with a circle of white fur on the collar, cuffs, and even the hems. Bright red sweater, with jacquard patterns of little white rabbits all over it. The bright red two-fingered cotton gloves do not have white hair, but the two gloves are connected by a long rope in the middle. Lin Fan knew that they were used to hang around the neck. What's even more outrageous is the bright red cotton tiger head hat. It's not that it doesn't look good. If this outfit was worn by another child, she would definitely say it looks good. But when it comes to her, Lin Fan looked at the pile of bright red clothes in distress. Wear or not, I wanted a set like this when I was a child, so that I could dress like a doll in a New Year picture. But when I grew up, I was very resistant to the whole red outfit. Haha, what do you think? Lin Fan should wear it or not? The last day, my dears, please give me some support. Monthly tickets, recommendations, and comments. What if I'm lucky enough to make the list and get a bonus? Muah. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 271 Violation. Lin Fan looked at the entrance of the fast food restaurant. John Woo hadn't appeared yet. Then she looked at her cumbersome clothes. Finally, she decided to change. Although she would definitely not refuse to change after John Woo came back. But the back and forth, plus her changing clothes, it would take too much time. She had already wasted so much time for him. She couldn't reunite with her family during the Chinese New Year. For such a small matter, it's not worth it. Isn't it just a set of clothes? Whatever you wear doesn't matter. Anyway, she is just a child now. Later, she will go to the mall to pick out 2 sets. After thinking it through, Lin Fan's movements became faster. Fortunately, the clothes were not all bright red. The woolen trousers were black, the autumn clothes and autumn trousers were pink, and the box of shorts contained 3 pairs of milky white, light blue, and pink. Finally, she was slightly relieved. The new clothes have not been washed yet, but she couldn't choose so many at this time. After changing her clothes, Lin Fan stuffed the original large clothes into the shopping bag. Just after wrapping the long chain of the small bag around his body twice, Wu Yusen came back. Lin Fan. He knocked on the car door twice. "Have you changed?" "Yes." No matter how many times he heard Lin Fan's soft voice, Wu Yusen couldn't help but smile. "Then I'll open the door." He smiled and pulled the door handle. He saw the cute little Lin Fan inside, dressed in bright red like a New Year's picture doll, white and tender, full of joy. He couldn't help but narrow his eyes. "Does it look like a red envelope?" Lin Fan grabbed the hem of his clothes a little embarrassedly. "Red envelope?" Wu Yusen smiled. "Are you hinting that I should give you a red envelope?" After saying this, he really started to think about whether to give me a red envelope. No, 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 why would you give me a red envelope? You don't have as much money as I do. Lin Fan refused straightforwardly. Wu Yusen's heart was choked, and he was hit hard by money. Smiling and shaking his head, he picked up Lin Fan from the back seat, put her in the passenger seat, fastened her seatbelt, and put a large bag of food on her lap. I bought a lot of fried chicken, French fries, and hamburgers, and 2 family buckets. You can eat first. After saying that, he returned to the driver's seat and started the car. It would take more than 4 hours to get back to his house. It would be almost dinner time when he got home. He had to hurry. You haven't eaten yet? Lin Fan unwrapped a burger, rolled up the wrapping paper, exposed half of the burger inside, and handed it to Wu Yusen. You should eat something too. Wu Yusen smiled and helped her smooth her hair that was sticking up on her head, and took the burger. Lin Fan suddenly felt a little uncomfortable when her head was touched. But considering that Wu Yusen had driven thousands of miles, and she didn't even have time to eat, let it go. Wu Yusen finished 2 burgers. After Lin Fan put a cup of coke in the cup holder for him, she started eating. She didn't feel hungry in her stomach. But after a morning of tossing and turning, she seemed to be hungry mentally. Anyway, for her, eating is to store energy for the stars, and there is no question of whether she is full or not. Just eat. Maybe if she eats more, she can change back earlier. While eating, Lin Fan told Wu Yusen in detail what happened in the morning. After listening, Wu Yusen called the person on duty at the institute and transferred the matter. After the person knew it, he said there was no problem. He took a statement from Lin Fan directly on the phone. In the end, they were told not to worry about it. The matter of the statement was considered to be handled. After a while, Kuan Yin Dan called. His ancestor said that Lin Fan's shrinkage must be the effect of Yanjing. Before, the ancestor was still wondering how someone could touch Yanjing but not react. Now think about it, it should be that Lin Fan's body was resisting the effect of Yanjing after the alienation of the stars. But in the end, he couldn't resist. That's why there were so many extra days in between. It's just like you resist the anesthesia and finally can't bear it, and sooner or later you have to sleep. It will be fine when you wake up. Kuan Yin Dan said. Lin Fan's impression of him was only the messy office and the big beard. Oh, and the menacing talisman. How long should I sleep? Wu Yusen asked according to his words. It depends on the person. Lin Fan's situation is quite special, and there was no reference before. But the ancestor said that according to the past practice, it would be as short as 10 days, and as long as 1 month. Anyway, no more. In addition to making people younger, Yanjing will not have any other effect. Kuan Yin Dan replied. Okay, I got it. Wu Yusen nodded silently. Thank you for your help. It's okay. Anyway, I have nothing to do during the new year, and I just happened to stay in the forging room. It's just a matter of 1 kick. Kuan Yin Dan smiled. Luckily the ancestor is here. If he wasn't here, you would definitely be in trouble, isn't it? If it weren't for the 1000 years Lord who just came back and recognized Yanjing, he would definitely be on his way back to the Special Affairs office with Lin Fan, and he would definitely alarm a large number of people. Okay, I won't bother you anymore. I'll be your backup. Wu Yusen said a few polite words and hung up the phone. Are you more relieved now? He glanced at Lin Fan and set the navigation to his home. Lin Fan nodded. Apart from not knowing whether the stars have changed, she had nothing to worry about in other aspects. According to the old ancestor, just wait. What else can she do? She couldn't help but be anxious about this matter. Who is the old ancestor you are talking about? Old Khan? Lin Fan asked curiously. No, it's the old ancestor of the equipment department, Mr. Kyan Su. He is different from old Khan who is stationed in the institute. He often disappears. But he is also a big boss in the institute, knowledgeable and almost omniscient. The image of Zhao Boteng instantly emerged in Lin Fan's mind. Then who is more powerful between him and old Khan? I don't know, and no one has asked. Wu Yusen thought of the same question he had in the past, and smiled. But it is said that, if the two of them really take action, they can tear down the Special Affairs office with 1 move. Wow. So powerful? Lin Fan widened his eyes. The underground where the special case was located, with more than 10 floors from top to bottom, Could it be demolished with just one move? At their level, moving mountains and seas is as easy as raising their hands. Wu Yusen looked at Lin Fan with envy. So you people have special powers. He didn't finish, but Lin Fan felt his envy and jealousy. In order not to continue to stimulate him, he sat down obediently, as if nothing had happened, and continued to eat. Wu Yusen looked at Lin Fan, who was like a little squirrel, and stepped on the accelerator to continue to rush forward. When it was getting dark, he finally got off the highway. It would take another half an hour to drive home. While waiting for the traffic light, he called home. Wu's father and mother knew that their son was back and brought a guest, and they were very excited. As soon as he hung up the phone, there was a knock on Wu Yusen's car window. He turned around and saw that it was a young traffic policeman. Wu Yusen knew that the traffic policeman couldn't see him clearly from outside, and although he didn't understand why, he still lowered the car window. The traffic policeman glanced inside and even looked at Lin Fan, and then saluted Wu Yusen. "Hello, comrade, you are driving illegally. Please pull over." "Oh, illegal, what is it? Can you guess?" "This is the last chance to vote and comment this month. Everyone, please help me cheer. Monthly votes, recommendation votes, interactive comments. Come on, smash me to death." Chapter 272 Safety Seat. Wu Yusen's smile paused. Did he violate traffic rules? Impossible. He didn't run a red light or cross the line. He also used voice control to dial the phone when he parked the car without using his hands. He was in a hurry when he went to pick up Lin Fan just now, but I don't remember him speeding. Even if he did, it's impossible that he was stopped by the traffic police when he returned home, right? Wu Yusen has never been deducted a point since he got his driver's license. Although he was puzzled, he still cooperated and drove the car to the side of the road. After parking the car, he looked at Lin Fan reassuringly, took the vehicle registration and driver's license, opened the door and went out. "Hello, comrade, I want to know where I violated the traffic rules." Lin Fan also wanted to know what happened. Because of her height, her vision was completely blocked by the center console. After she had food, she was busy eating and didn't see anything. She wiped her hands, unbuckled her seatbelt, climbed up from the seat, jumped into the driver's seat, opened the car window, and looked down through the window frame. When the traffic police was on duty at the intersection, he saw such a tall car parked in the waiting traffic and couldn't help but take a few more glances. He saw the problem at a glance. He took Wu Yusen's ID, checked it to see if there was any problem, and quickly returned it to him. When he looked up, he saw the little girl lying on the window, staring at him with sparkling eyes. "Is that your child?" "Yes." Wu Yusen turned back along the traffic police's line of sight, smiled at Lin Fan, and looked back at the traffic police. "I fastened her seatbelt. She just opened it by herself." "It's not the seatbelt." The traffic police shook his head and said, "For such a small child, you should put her in the safety seat in the back seat instead of letting her sit alone in the passenger seat." Wu Yusen and Lin Fan were both stunned. Although they knew that Lin Fan's body had become smaller, they still regarded her as an adult in their minds. What's more, both of them were single dogs, so how could they think of a child needing a safety seat when riding in a car? The children's clothing store in Gaocheng does sell them, but they didn't expect that the clerk thought they had them in the car. Seeing that Wu Yusen had a good attitude and listened carefully, the traffic police took the opportunity to give a few more popular science lessons. When we are driving at a speed of 40 km per hour in the city, if an unexpected collision occurs and the vehicle stops suddenly, the inertia during driving will cause all passengers in the car to be subjected to an impact force more than 20 times higher than their own body weight at the moment of the collision. You can fasten the seatbelt for your child, which proves that you are safety conscious. But the seatbelts in the car are mainly designed for adults, and the minimum height limit is 1.4 meters. Look at the child, it's obviously not tall enough. The traffic police raised his chin towards Lin Fan and saw the little girl's big watery eyes staring at him, and subconsciously smiled back. Letting such a young child use a seatbelt will not only fail to provide protection, but once an accident occurs, the seatbelt will strangle the neck and may cause organ compression. Moreover, a violent collision will cause the airbag to pop out instantly, and the pressure it will cause for a child is still very large. And looking at the sitting position of your child just now, the position of the airbag is facing the child's face, which may cause suffocation. Among the causes of death of children under 14 in my country, traffic accidents are ranked first. And the research data of the World Health Organization shows that child seats can reduce the mortality rate of infants and young children in traffic collisions by at least 50%. So, parents with children like you, for the safety of your children, when driving out, you must equip your children with safety seats no matter what. Wu Yusen and Lin Fan listened very carefully. It's not that they don't know about safety seats, and they also know that they are specially prepared for children to ride in cars more safely. But they have never thought about learning about related knowledge. After all, they don't need it. When they were young, they were carried by their family members when they took the car. How could there be such things at that time? But after listening to the traffic police, their knowledge has increased. Wu Yusen nodded quickly. You are right to criticize. I didn't expect it. I will go to the mall tonight to buy one and install it in the car. Seeing his cooperative attitude, the traffic policeman's expression relaxed, and he spoke with a smile. Safety is no small matter. I hope you will always pay attention to driving safety in your future life. You can go. No punishment? Wu Yusen asked. In view of your good attitude of admitting your mistakes, I will only give you a verbal warning. The traffic policeman smiled. Few people asked for punishment on their own initiative. Otherwise, I will fine you 300. Oh, that's great. Wu Yusen grinned. I thought his record of never being deducted points was going to be broken, but I didn't expect that he was lucky. After saying goodbye to the traffic policeman politely, Wu Yusen took Lin Fan home again. After dinner, I will take you to the mall to buy things. Lin Fan heard Wu Yusen say this. Okay. After taking a nap at noon and eating a lot in the afternoon, she didn't feel tired. Then I'm going to buy some nice clothes. This red dress is too uncomfortable. Wu Yusen saw Lin Fan pulling at the red dress uncomfortably and smiled. I've thought about it a long time ago. I bought a set of clothes in Gaocheng just to make it convenient for you to move around. I was just afraid that you wouldn't like it if I bought too much. It's better to wait until you are convenient to choose it yourself. Wu Yusen couldn't figure out what the woman was thinking. However, the experience he gained from his ex-girlfriend told him that he was not suitable for choosing clothes for women. Sure enough, the red dress that he thought was beautiful, Lin Fan didn't like it. Fortunately, he was wise. Wu Yusen gave himself a thumbs up in his heart. That's great. I hope I can find clothes that I can accept in the mall. Lin Fan was a little worried. Children's clothes. What looks good on other children is different from what she thinks looks good on herself. It should be no problem. It's the best large mall here. There is a whole floor of children's products. You should be able to find what you want. Wu Yusen turned the steering wheel and drove into the community. Oh, by the way, we need to buy a seat. Lin Fan looked at the black center console speechlessly. She knew that what the traffic police said was right, but what's the difference between letting her sit in a safety seat and sitting in a baby stroller? Although her body is small, she is an adult at heart. It's very awkward, okay? But there seems to be no other way. She can't get on the high-speed rail and bus without an ID. She can only rely on Wu Yusen to take her back to the special affairs office. Wu Yusen has been stopped once. He can't do it again and again, right? And the protection performance of the safety seat is indeed better than sitting directly in the passenger seat. Although Wu Yusen drives steadily, who can be sure of an accident in life? It's better to be safe. Isn't it just a safety seat? She didn't have the opportunity to experience it when she was a child, so she took this opportunity to have a happy childhood for a few days. That's right. Now there is no parental supervision. She has money and free time. She can eat whatever she wants. No one will urge her to sleep late, and there are handsome boys to play with. Lin Fan suddenly felt that becoming smaller is not completely without benefits. It can let her experience her childhood again, with a level of happiness that other children cannot achieve. In the new month, I will continue to work hard. Chapter 273 Unexpected Motherly Love. After Lin Fan came to terms with it, she was no longer so resistant, but rather had a little expectation. When Wu Yusen parked the car, He saw Lin Fan shaking her head and laughing, and he didn't know what happy things she was thinking about. He suddenly felt emotional. How could she, who was so self-satisfied, be so depressed in the first place? But it was a good thing that she was getting better now, and he didn't want to mention the dark life before in front of Lin Fan. It was good to enjoy the present moment. Wu Yusen parked the car and carried Lin Fan down. Hey, garbage. Lin Fan pointed to the empty plastic bag she had eaten at the footrest and wanted to climb up to get it. Wu Yusen stopped her. I'll do it. He took the garbage from the front row and went to the back row to get Lin Fan's luggage. Come on, the hat and gloves are still here. Put them on quickly, it's cold. Lin Fan looked at the tiger head hat and cloth gloves and obediently let him help her put them on. Anyway, she lay down, and from now on, she was a child. Seeing the increasingly adorable little Lin Fan, Wu Yusen smiled so hard that his teeth could not be seen, and he could not help wanting to pick him up. No, no, no. Lin Fan stepped back quickly. Although she had decided to experience childhood, it was in her mind, not in her body. Walking by herself was her last stubbornness. Wu Yusen did not force her, locked the car, and led Lin Fan slowly home. Wu's parents had already prepared dinner and waited at home for a while. When he heard the buzzing sound of the elevator door opening outside, Wu's father immediately stood up and opened the door, just in time to see his son who was about to open the door. Are you back? Wu's mother looked at her son with a smile. Coming quickly, it's cold, right? Where are the guests? Wu Yusen did not see anyone behind him, but he was holding 2 bags in his hands, which he had not seen when he went out. Here. Wu Yusen turned sideways, revealing Lin Fan, who was wearing a tiger head hat and a red dress. Oh, whose little baby is this? Wu's mother's heart melted when she saw Lin Fan. She walked over, hugged the little guy, and put his face in front of her. He gently touched her little nose with the tip of his nose, rubbing it intimately. Lin Fan had never experienced this before. When she was a child, she had hoped that Lin's mother could be so intimate with her. But as she grew older, she had given up this wish. Unexpectedly, it was Wu Yusen's mother who did this to her. Lin Fan felt a little sour and a little warm in her heart. This was the look of her mother in her dreams. She bit her lower lip, suppressed the tears that welled up in her eyes, and greeted her politely. Happy New Year, Auntie. No, you should call me Grandma. Wu's mother corrected with a laugh. This is embarrassing. What is the appropriate name? Lin Fan closed her mouth tightly and fell into a new dilemma. Come on, come in first. Wu Yusen had already changed into slippers, and seeing his mother still holding Lin Fan outside, he didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Yes, coming quickly. Wu's father lifted Wu's mother up and picked up little Lin Fan and went into the house together. Didn't you go to help a friend? How did you bring back a child? Dad Wu looked at Mom Wu holding the child and kissing him on the sofa. He had to admit that the child was indeed beautiful. It was this friend. Just as Wu Yusen was about to explain, he was interrupted by Mom Wu's voice. Oh, who hit this child on the face? Mom Wu suddenly shouted, attracting Dad Wu. Wu Yusen's home has floor heating, and it is as warm as spring when you enter the room. You have to take off your coat to feel comfortable. When Mom Wu helped Lin Fan take off her clothes and hat, she saw the fingerprints on her face. Lin Fan has a physique that is easy to bruise, and after evolution, her skin is white and flawless. After becoming smaller, even the pores can't be seen clearly. The 3 deep red and raised fingerprints are very glaring. The human traffickers beat her. Seeing this, Wu Yusen just skipped Dad Wu's questioning and came to Mom Wu and said, she was almost abducted by human traffickers this morning. This is when she struggled and was beaten by the human traffickers. Then he roughly recounted the incident. How could the damn human traffickers be so heavy-handed? Wu Ma wanted to touch it, but didn't dare to, or hit the ear. What if he becomes deaf? Wu Dad quickly dug out the family's medical box and took out a bottle of green ointment. Here, this is for reducing swelling. Apply it on the child. Wu Ma dipped a little on a cotton swab and gently rubbed it on Lin Fan's face. She breathed as she rubbed and asked her if it hurt. Lin Fan looked at Wu Ma's gentle face, and tears flowed without warning. Why did the mother she wanted be someone else's mother? Oh, my dear, don't cry, don't cry. Grandma hurt you, didn't she? Wu Ma quickly hugged Lin Fan and coaxed him. Where are his parents? Why did they let the child be alone outside during the new year? Wu Dad frowned slightly. These parents were too unreliable. Well, they have other things to do, and it's not convenient. I will help take care of them for a few days temporarily, and bring them back when I go to work. Wu Yusen explained half truthfully. They are so amazing. Wu Ma raised her head from coaxing the child, and covered Lin Fan's ears. What the internet said is right, the threshold for being a parent is really too low. Turning her head, and seeing little Lin Fan looking at her with tears in her eyes, Wu Ma's heart melted even more. It's okay, just stay at Grandma's house. Grandma likes little darling very much. But this was an injustice to Lin's father and mother. They were indignant, and scolded for a long time, when they knew that someone kidnapped a child outside the community. It was impossible to think that the child who was almost kidnapped was his Lin Fan. Who could have thought of it? A big girl turned into a little kid. Only on TV. Okay, let's eat quickly. The child must be hungry. Wu Dad urged everyone to go to the table. Yes. Wu Ma asked Lin Fan with curved eyebrows. Hurry up and eat. Our little baby must be starving, right? Lin Fan, who had just finished a large bag of food and didn't feel hungry at all, seemed to be bewitched. Looking at Wu Ma's smiling face, he nodded gently. Wu Ma smiled and carried Lin Fan to the dining table, while she and Wu Bei went to the kitchen to reheat the food. Lin Fan watched them talking and laughing in the kitchen, and she couldn't help thinking of Lin's father and mother. Really, it's not the same. At this moment, Lin Fan envied Wu Yusen. She looked up at the tall man standing beside him. What's wrong? Wu Yusen received Lin Fan's gaze and asked. I need to wash my hands. Lin Fan hid her thoughts and jumped off the chair. Wu Yusen took her to the bathroom, only to find that Lin Fan couldn't reach the sink at all. There was no way, so he could only pick her up from behind and pick her up so that she could wash her hands smoothly. He had to buy a children's footstool. Wu Yusen added another item to the shopping list. When it was time to eat, Wu Ma sat on the other side of Lin Fan and helped her pick up the dishes attentively. If she encountered fish and shrimp, she would also help her to deal with it attentively. Lin Fan secretly felt Wu Ma's motherly love and felt mixed emotions in her heart. It turns out that mothers are different from mothers. If she becomes younger, she can experience these feelings that were previously unattainable, and she hopes that this time can last longer. Lin Fan looked at Wu Ma with a bulging mouth, and she was very sure that if the 37-year-old Lin Fan sat here, she would definitely not be treated like this. Thank you for becoming younger. This is really the best thing this year. When you were a child, did you think that other people's parents were the best? Ha ha ha. I did when I was a child. Chapter 274. Her name is Lin Xiaogui. By the way, what's the name of this child? Aunt Wu put another peeled shrimp into Lin Fan's bowl and looked up at her son. He always called him little darling or little good boy. Although there's nothing wrong with that, it doesn't feel as intimate as calling him by his name. Call him Lin. The next word was on the tip of Wu Yusen's tongue, but he changed it and said little good boy. He couldn't guarantee that Lin Fan wouldn't have the opportunity to meet his parents in the future. If they found out that they had the same name, they would definitely make associations. Lin Fan held the shrimp in her mouth and turned her head slowly in disbelief, looking at the guy who had just given her a new name. Wu Yusen smiled helplessly. Isn't there anything else he can do? Oh, so we call him little good boy. Aunt Wu smiled happily. The name really suits the person. Lin Fan turned his head slowly again and looked at the smiling faces of Aunt Wu and Father Wu. Okay, Lin Xiaogui is Lin Xiaogui. It's better than Era or Chunia. Lin Fan. Oh no. The freshly baked Lin Xiaogui finished his dinner under Aunt Wu's considerate care. She said she had never seen such a smart, obedient, well-behaved, and beautiful little girl. She was so cute. She just didn't like to talk much. It might be because she just came to the house and she was not used to it. But it was not a big problem. While cleaning the table, Wu Ma had already started thinking about what delicious food to make for Xiaogui as breakfast tomorrow morning. Lin Fan, who had just arrived at the table, couldn't help to clean up. He walked to the living room and looked around. He saw the luggage placed by the entrance. Are we going to the mall now, or do you want to rest for a while? Wu Yusen saw where her eyes were and took the initiative to take it. If it's convenient, can I borrow your washing machine? Lin Fan opened the shopping bag. The clothes she wore before were sweaty and dirty. As a person with mild misophobia, it would be great if she could wash them. Convenient, why not? Wu Yusen immediately understood what she wanted to do. He took the bag from her hand, walked straight to the washing machine, took out the clothes one by one, shook them and stuffed them in. Lin Fan saw her changed shorts with sharp eyes and quickly reached out to grab them, gathered them together, and stuffed them into the washing machine. Now let's not talk about whether they are clean or not. It's good enough to wash them once. At worst, she can wash them separately again when she returns to the special affairs office. Wu Yusen guessed what she threw in from her actions and smiled even more. He pretended that he didn't see anything and continued to put the dirty clothes into the washing machine. We also have a dryer at home. This bucket of clothes will be dry before going to bed today, and they have been sterilized at high temperature to ensure they are clean. Lin Fan nodded seriously. Lin Fan took out all the dirty clothes, and there were still 2 pairs of small shorts for children left in the bag. They were bought in Gaocheng before, a set of 3 in a box. John Woo took the new shorts out of the box, held them in his hand, and asked Lin Fan, "Shall we wash these too? This way you can wear them after you come back tonight and take a shower. Wash the new clothes and the clothes you are wearing in another bucket after you take a shower, and you can wear clean clothes when you wake up tomorrow morning." How could John Woo not know Lin Fan's obsession with cleanliness? He also knew that after she bought clothes, except for cotton coats, shoes, and bags, all other clothes would be washed before wearing. Lin Fan looked at the shorts with a bunny pattern in his hand, and her face was about to burn. They were obviously new shorts that had never been worn, so why was she so shy? Calm down, John Woo has seen everything before. Lin Fan pretended to be calm and nodded with a straight face. John Woo looked at Lin Fan's red face, and he had already laughed in his heart, but the smile on his face did not change at all. Seeing that it was already past 7 o'clock, and not too early, he hurriedly greeted Wu Ma, who was still busy in the kitchen, and asked her to help put the clothes in the washing machine into the dryer after the washing machine finished working. He carefully helped Lin Fan put on his coat, put on his bag, put on his hat and gloves, and took him out. What is the difference between the Spring Festival in Ningcheng and Gaocheng? Lin Fan looked at the bright streets and the bright street lights, and it seemed that there was not much difference. When the car drove to the mall, the gorgeous appearance and beautiful neon lights instantly attracted Lin Fan's attention. Well, there is still a difference. The mall in Gaocheng is not so big, and there are no such beautiful lights. I don't know if it's because of the size. Lin Fan was obviously not so interested in these things before, but now he seems to be very interested. Is it not only the body that has become smaller, but also the head that has become smaller? When Lin Fan was in a daze, Wu Yusen had already carried her down. Seeing that she was still in a daze and didn't know what to think, he carried her directly to the elevator. When the warm wind at the entrance blew towards Lin Fan, she woke her up from what she couldn't understand. She patted Wu Yusen to let him down. She stepped into the elevator skillfully with her short legs. When she really entered the mall, Lin Fan felt strange about everything. It's not that she had never been to a better mall, but it was the first time she had such a short perspective. The smooth floor tiles could easily illuminate her face, and the originally wide space seemed boundless. The spotlights on the ceiling were like stars. The people around her were much taller than her, and she had to look up to see everything, as if she had entered a land of giants. This novel experience made her curious about everything. Do you want to take a casual stroll first? Wu Yusen saw her coming up and looked left and right, feeling very interesting. Lin Fan thought about it, but finally shook her head. She still remembered that she had a mission to go shopping in the mall today. The mall usually closes at around 9 o'clock, and it's not too late now. It will take a lot of time to choose clothes. If she doesn't buy good clothes tonight, will she have to wear red tomorrow? Lin Fan refused in her heart. Despite all her curiosity, she decided to play after buying clothes. If it really doesn't work, let Wu Yusen go shopping with her tomorrow. Anyway, there are still several days left. With the goal set, the two headed straight for the children's clothing area. Lin Fan and Wu Yusen never knew that there were so many brands of children's clothing. The endless variety of brand stalls made the two deeply feel the importance people attach to children nowadays. Fortunately, Lin Fan had a clear goal. While moving forward quickly, he had passed those brands that were too childish and festive, and finally stopped at a store. This children's clothing store has a style of miniaturized adult clothing. To put it bluntly, it is to reduce adult clothes to children's sizes, and there are also many parent-child clothes. In the past, Lin Fan always felt that such clothes looked delicate when worn by children, but they lost some of their childishness. But for her now, it is simply perfect. She first picked a beige down jacket and brown pants, and changed her big red coat. She quickly picked a few basic styles with gentle colors. Wu Yusen asked the clerk to take the right size directly, gestured a little, and paid without even trying it on. Half an hour later, they went into a store that specialized in children's underwear and bought 2 sets of autumn clothes and small socks. Fortunately, they didn't need to buy shorts. Lin Fan secretly breathed a sigh of relief when Wu Yusen checked out. Although it was already past 8 o'clock in the evening, there were still many people in the mall. After Lin Fan was bumped by 2 groups of people, Wu Yusen took the initiative to hold her hand. Lin Fan was stunned, and her first reaction was, the last time someone held her hand like this was more than 30 years ago, right? Wu Yusen's hand was big and warm, and quite comfortable. Well, let him hold it. Lin Fan mercifully did not shake it off. She didn't even notice that the corners of her mouth gradually rose, and she began to jump when she walked. Not far from them, an old lady was holding her grandson's hand, and frowned as she watched the 2 people go away. Hey, isn't that Wu Yusen? She nudged her daughter-in-law next to her. The daughter-in-law took a look, and saw Wu Yusen turned around to talk to Lin Fan. Yes, it's him. The aunt watched as 2 figures, one big and one small, walked into a store again, and hurriedly tried to chase them. Hey, mom, what are you doing? The daughter-in-law quickly stopped her. The aunt glared at her daughter-in-law unhappily, and handed her grandson's hand to her. I'll go see who the child he is holding is. Dad takes the child to the mall. Ha ha ha. I changed to an exercise to slim down my legs yesterday, but today my legs are so sore that I can't even lift them. Don't think about exercising today, just take a temporary break. Ha ha ha. Chapter 275, Aunt's Imagination. Wu Yusen and his partner didn't know someone was following them. After walking around the store and not seeing what they wanted, they left through another exit. At this time, the aunt and her daughter-in-law had just entered the store with their grandson. They searched inside, but couldn't find anyone. When they found another exit, Wu Yusen was nowhere to be seen. The grandson kept asking to buy the toys he had just seen in the store. The aunt couldn't resist, and had to give up looking for someone temporarily, and go back to buy toys. When the child came out with the toys, the aunt couldn't help but search around again, but still didn't see the familiar figure. She took out her mobile phone unwillingly, and called Wu Ma. Wu Ma and Wu Bei were sitting on the sofa watching TV, waiting for the 2 children to come home. When she saw the phone ringing, she clicked to answer it. Hello, sister-in-law. Is your Yusen not at home? Wu Ma's sister-in-law, Wu Yusen's aunt, interrupted what she wanted to say. Aunt Wu didn't understand, but she replied politely, I'm not at home now. I just went to the mall. I told you I was going to the mall. The aunt slapped her thigh. I said I saw Yusen and wanted to say hello to him, but in the blink of an eye, he disappeared. Ah, what a coincidence. You are also in the mall. Aunt Wu asked with a smile. Are you taking Zyro out to play? Of course. I'm talking about Yusen. Don't mess with me. The aunt wanted to praise her grandson. Thinking again, her original intention of calling was not this, so she quickly turned around. Yusen? Aunt Wu held the phone and didn't understand what her son had to say. Didn't he just go to celebrate the new year with them 2 days ago? Yes, guess what I saw just now? He was actually shopping in the mall with a child. The aunt said with a look of telling you a shocking secret. He looks like he is only 2 or 3 years old. He was held by your Yusen's hand. He also bought a lot of things. Oh, that child. I know. Aunt Wu thought it was something else. It's the child of Yusen's friend. He was brought to our house to take care of him for a few days. He did take the child to the mall. A friend's child? Yusen told you? The aunt looked unconvinced. Yes. Aunt Wu replied casually. Do you believe what he said? I see that the child is friendly to him and obedient. Can a friend's child be so obedient? The aunt didn't believe it. Xiaogui is a very well-behaved child. Aunt Wu hadn't reacted to what her sister-in-law wanted to say. Is he close to Yusen? They don't interact much at home. I thought Xiaogui was reserved before, but I didn't expect that going out shopping would enhance his relationship with Yusen. If I had known, she would have gone with him. Why not close? Holding hands, talking and laughing, like a real father and daughter. The aunt said sarcastically. Really? Aunt Wu chuckled. That's great. I'll ask them when they come back. The eldest aunt thought that her sister-in-law was a little bit off. Wasn't her hint obvious enough? Sighing, it seemed that she had to speak frankly. Have you ever doubted that during the Chinese New Year, who would send their child to someone else's house to stay for a few days? And a child this young? Aunt Wu was stunned. What is there to doubt? Who doesn't have an emergency? Although Xiaogui's parents are unreliable, at least they know to ask Yusen for help and entrust Xiaogui to them to take care of. From this point of view, it is still a little reliable. Sister-in-law, what do you want to say? Aunt Wu also reacted at this time. Her sister-in-law was on the phone and didn't want to chat with her. Have you ever doubted that this child is your Yusen's child? The eldest aunt saw the closeness of the two people from a distance, and they looked like a family. Wu's mother didn't even bother watching TV. She was completely stunned. When Wu's father saw his wife like this, he also came over to answer the phone. Look, your Yusen is also this age. Although he is not married, it's not strange that he has a girlfriend, right? The eldest aunt analyzed it here. It's not strange. Wu's father and Wu's mother knew that their son had girlfriends several times. Although they are not clear about the situation recently, this is definitely normal. According to the current way young people get along, if they have girlfriends, it's not strange to have a child, right? The eldest aunt continued to lobby. No, if my Yusen's girlfriend really has a child, it is impossible for her to be irresponsible. Wu's mother hurried to defend her son. I know Yusen is a good boy, but what if he is also kept in the dark? The eldest aunt's mind has already started playing. If his girlfriend found out she was pregnant after breaking up with him, but because she was sad, she just didn't want to go back to him. She gave birth to the child alone and raised it with great difficulty. Until recently, she encountered an emergency and couldn't take care of the child, so she asked the child's father to take her back to stay for a few days. Dad and Mom Wu were stunned. This plot, why does it sound a little familiar? Look at the picture being played on TV. Isn't it the plot of the TV series? No, sister-in-law, wait a moment. Mom Wu hurriedly stopped. This is all your conjecture. There is no basis for it. Hey, the aunt was anxious. Didn't your Yusen say that his friend had something to do? Does his ex-girlfriend count as a friend? Count? Mom Wu looked at Dad Wu hesitantly. Ask the child's parents. Did Yusen tell them their names and what happened? No. Did the child show any special closeness to Yusen? The aunt continued to ask. They are not particularly close, but the child always looks at Yusen from time to time. Wu's mother discovered this when they were eating. She thought it was a sign of Xiaogui's lack of security. That's right. The eldest aunt slapped her thigh again. It is normal for a father and daughter who have just met not to be close, but the natural blood relationship makes the child want to be close to his father, so he always looks at him. If Lin Fan knew that his envious gaze towards Wu Yusen was interpreted like this, he would probably admire this person's imagination. Seeing that his sister-in-law was getting more and more outrageous, Wu's father quickly waved to his wife, signaling her to stop talking. Wu's mother also felt that this was simply out of the question. Sister-in-law, you must be overthinking. Even if there is such a situation as you said, my Yusen can just tell us directly. Why hide it from us? Wu's father and mother are well known for their open-mindedness. You know, Wu Yusen has such a big child wandering around. Wouldn't he be happy to death? Although having a child out of wedlock is not so nice, what does it matter? The child is innocent. What's more, Xiaogui is so well behaved and cute. There is no need for John Woo to hide it. The aunt was speechless for a moment and forgot about it. Aunt Wu heard silence on the phone for a long time and thought that the matter was over. Unexpectedly, the aunt immediately made an appointment to have lunch at the Wu family tomorrow. It is common for relatives to come to the house for a meal during the Chinese New Year. It is not good to refuse without reason, right? Aunt Lin agreed immediately. The aunt smiled triumphantly after hanging up the phone. She wanted to see if that was John Woo's illegitimate daughter. Who said before that it would be mistaken for Lin Fan's illegitimate daughter? Guessed the wrong person. Haha. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.